Pierce Bespoke. Whether it's custom or casual, they come to you to take the hassle out of shopping. If buying off the rack doesn't work for you, let Pierce Bespoke show you how to get the perfect fit. Call Pierce Bespoke to schedule your appointment. 251-278-8270. That's 251-278-8270.
The smarter way to clean your floors. It's time to make the swap. Swiffer Power Mop.
Introducing the new Swiffer Power Mop, the all-in-one tool that gives you a mop and bucket clean in half the time. The solution's built right in, so no heavy bucket, and the pad has hundreds of scrubbing strips to get deep into grout. Don't mop harder, mop smarter.
Swiffer Power Mop. Swiffer Power Mop.
1, 2.
I'm in love with a man named Rudy. I'm okay with that. He knows exactly what I want. He keeps me coming back. He cooks breakfast, lunch, and dinner for me. Does the dishes too. I'm in love with a man named Rudy. Last name Barbecue. It sure is easy to fall in love with Rudy's tasty oak smoked barbecue.
Next in line.
I love playing sports, especially for my school. And that's because school sports are special. It's where it's safe to fail. It's where we're taught resilience, where our fear becomes confidence. It's where we learn to get back up after every fall. School sports are where 7.8 million students go from I can't to I can.
This message presented by the FHSAA and the Florida Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
WGSX Lynn Haven, WVLQ Port St. Joe. Powered by Panama City Toyota. ESPN Northwest Florida. It's the next evolution of sports talk radio. The biggest stories and the biggest reactions.
Now.
And now we're taking
With the first pick.
This is the last ball you got in the bag.
the inside drive. From college to the pros, interviews with the newsmakers, sports betting, your phone calls, and more. And now, the inside drive with Ryan Mulvey. Broadcasting from the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine Outdoor Studios on ESPN Northwest Florida.
And good Wednesday morning. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Officially our 7-year anniversary today. I thought it was last Monday, the 17th, but lo and behold, I guess it's today. So I was telling everybody we were giving away the tickets on our 7-year. Well, here we are. But we are going to give away some more tickets. We're going to do that again tomorrow, trying to give you another family 4-pack to go see the Atlanta Braves play the Philadelphia Phillies on July 5th up there. I believe it's the start of the series, and a huge series that it will be, as they're the top 2 teams in their division, and the Braves are trying to close that gap just a little bit. But as always, you can listen to us on 104.3 in Panama City Beach, 101.9 in Port St. Joe, and along the beautiful Forgotten Coast. You can also watch live, listen, share, subscribe, like, all those things right there on our social media channels. That's Facebook, X, and YouTube. Just search up ESPN Northwest Florida. You can also download our free mobile app inside the Google Play or Apple Store. That one, throw 104.3 in front of ESPN Northwest Florida. Follow us on TikTok, inside.drive. You can also download. You can also go to ESPNPC.com. With that little sign right there, Bill, that we've got up in the studio, it looks like now I see David like Mr. Wilson on Home Improvement. All I can see is the top of his eyes. So I
neighbor.
Yeah. Howdy ho, junior neighbor.
Yeah. So for next year, for the Ocho, we're going to have a big circle on the calendar versus, giving it a week early.
Yeah, hey, it's a celebration. It's a week-long celebration.
I like it.
Actually, it's a week longer than a week celebration, but that's okay.
That's all right.
Some folks birthday month.
Birthday,
people.
yeah.
I like it. Birthday week, birthday month, and whatever. 10-day stretch.
Just a reminder, my birthday's in 10 days. Just a reminder, I'm not getting you anything. That's a Jim Gaffigan joke. Great one nonetheless. But Bill, you doing good?
Yeah, bud.
You saw a lot of clips from what the Florida Panthers were doing with that Stanley Cup.
I very much enjoyed it. I think it might be, I can't say if it's for sure the first time that Lord Stanley's ever taken a dunk out in the ocean, but to watch the Panthers celebrate through the night and into the next day and see the old assistant captain Kachuk there say, let's go, and just run into the ocean and then proceed to dunk his head underwater and drop Lord Stanley where he's just floating out there.
Yep, like you were saying, they wear the white gloves. They take such good care of this thing, keeping it perfect, and, it's just out there hanging out in the salt water.
The keeper of the Cups, they're just sitting there shaking their head. They're like, all year, we keep this thing in a case locked up, the white gloves and everything else that was on the promos, and just takes a Florida team to, break out Stanley Cup in the party mode.
That's it. I saw them drinking beer out of it from like a balcony, like pouring it down and all that. Like just Florida things.
Yeah.
And Tampa Bay's won many Stanley Cups, but they're on the Gulf side, kind of on the bays and all that, not on the coast. I mean, you know what I mean? They're not on the beaches. Well, they'd have to get out there to get them. But
yes, you can always drive out that way. But yes, Tampa being on the west side.
Beaches there.
No, I know, but it's like I feel like they're just walking right out the stadium to go to the beach out there.
Yeah. True. Yeah, it's a good point.
But, I wonder if it's ever been. I'm sure it's been in the Atlantic before. Has it ever floated in the Atlantic before with nobody holding it?
That's the one I was wondering.
Yeah. But they got it back in, though, right?
As far as I know. I haven't seen a missing Bolden for wanted one Stanley Cup.
They put up a search and rescue for that. No doubt about it, the Stanley Cup. If it were just to kind of drift off into the Atlantic. It ended up in the Gulf Stream and it ended up in Europe.
Wow.
And they wouldn't know what to do.
They definitely would not know what to do with it.
Man. They wouldn't do that. That's for sure. That is for sure. But poll question today. We might have talked about this before at some point. I'm sure we have. But you were choosing a beverage from the fridge here in the studio, and you ran across the old root beer.
Yeah, well, we're out of water in the fridge at the studio today. So I said,
it's hot.
It might be
not anymore. Not anymore.
Not for long.
D. Hayes was busy this morning before the show, loading some stuff up in the heat.
Bustling, baby.
Yes.
Okay.
And shout out to all those delivery drivers and people working out there in the heat because it is stifling out there today. Just not a lot of wind movement. But hey, it's almost July. We're in Florida. We don't get snow, so
par for the course, as they say.
Par for the course.
But yeah, I was saying, what's because I haven't had a root beer in quite some time, and I looked to you, Ryan, and I said, "What's your favorite brand of root beer?"
Yeah, good question.
And what's your answer?
Yeah, mine was Stewart's.
That's right.
But it's a little more non-mainstream, a little more, like you mentioned, boutique, which I thought was a good word for it. And Stewart's had the orange creamsicle, and they had a lot of different other ones too. But, I think, what's the one here? The one here is the mug root beer.
Yep.
And then we got A&W.
Right. For your classics.
For your classics. We got Barks.
Yep.
Barks has Bite. IBC was the other one we threw there.
IBC, yeah.
And then if we can fit 5, we'll throw Stewart's in there just for fun so I can vote for that one. Only 4? All right, we'll keep Stewart's out because that one's not one you really find in the grocery store.
Go over the 4 again.
We got Mug.
A&W.
A&W.
Yep.
Barks. And IBC.
We'll throw one bottle in.
Did you guys have AMPs where you grew up? The grocery store?
We didn't have them, but that might be because I was going to say, isn't that the one that A&W ended up having? I don't know.
I don't know either. But we had AMPs and ShopRites.
Okay.
Growing up in dirty jerks.
No A&P in the Northeast.
IBC.
IBC. Had so many letters going around.
I know.
I don't know.
We're like A&W. Yeah, there's it's a lot of acronyms for root beer apparently.
Yeah.
But separate yourself. No caffeine.
True.
No caffeine.
Loaded with sugar, though.
Oh, yeah, as every soda drink
And to
is.
make it even better, just throw some ice cream in there.
Yeah. Ooh, root beer float.
Haven't had one of those in many moons either.
We don't have any ice cream here, so don't get carried away.
I might take a root beer for later.
There you go. There you go. Absolutely. Well, I know David and the Afternoon Underdogs talked about this yesterday because it kind of broke while they were doing it. But Texas A&M, Jim Schlossnagle, if I pronounce that correctly. It
sounds good to me.
It works for me. I mean,
that's why I just stick with
Schloss. We'll just go with Schloss. But Nagel at the end. It's a good name. It's great. It's a great name. What do you think the origin of that name is?
German.
Had to be, right?
I'm going to go with yes.
With the Schloss in the beginning of it. Yeah, that'd be good. Makes sense. Anyway, we may or may not remember, if you haven't heard this story yet, he was interviewed right after they lost the College World Series to Tennessee, and obviously he's done a fantastic job at Texas A&M, but he was asked by a reporter what would be happening following this, and he said, "I think it's pretty selfish of you to ask me that question. To be honest with you," Schloss said, "I left my family to be the coach at Texas A&M. I took the job at Texas A&M to never take another job again, and that hasn't changed my mind. In my mind. That's unfair to talk about something like that. I understand you got to ask the question, but I gave up a big part of my life to come take this job and poured every ounce of my soul into this job, and I've given this job every single ounce of I can possibly give. Write that, he said. Which, understandably, you can feel that after the frustration of losing the College World Series. You forced it to that Game 3. You were one run in that top of the ninth from tying it. But guess what happened yesterday afternoon?
Bolted.
Took the job at Texas, which, in-state rival, all that stuff, kind of some wild things there happening. I did get some inside information from our good friend Michigan Eddie. He said the Aggie AD was on the search committee to find the baseball coach that eventually hired Schloss. Word is Schloss was not his first choice, and now Schloss is reunited with his buddy, the Texas AD. The way he left was poor form, but maybe on the inside there were issues. Who knows? But that takes me to think, what would you rather, if your team, and this isn't a poll question, it's just a question, if your team, one of the more famous things I can think of is when Nick Saban was on LSU and then he said he'd never leave for the NFL and then he went to the Dolphins. Would you rather your coach just say, hey, I'm going somewhere else, regardless if it's a rival or something like that? Or would you be less upset if he did that versus saying I'm not leaving and then left?
I think natural human reaction, you'd probably be less upset. But again, it's a business. Yeah. I think most players, coaches, if anything, it's probably really the fans who get the most upset. Because, of course, if you're on contract with your team, of course you want to say all the right things to your fan base, to the reporters and everything else versus, I don't know. It was a good run, but...
They're like, is he leaving? Is he leaving?
I'm looking over the fence at Wilson over there, and that grass does look greener.
Yeah. Hey, it's and like Michigan Eddie said, I mean, the AD is a good friend of him over there, and he's agreed to move on over there to Texas. It was quoted by saying Kevin Eltife, the chairman of the UT System Board of Regents, everywhere Coach Schloss has been, he's built winners at the highest level. He's had a first-class program in every way and is an absolutely perfect fit to lead our baseball program. I couldn't be more excited to watch him work his magic on the 40 acres. Texas will reportedly owe Texas A&M a $2.7 million buyout fee to hire Schloss. Texas Athletic Director Chris Del Conte, who Michigan Eddie was talking about, previously worked with Schloss at TCU from 2009 to 2017. The Horned Frogs of TCU made a run of 4 consecutive College World Series trips from 2014 to 2017. He left as the winningest coach in program history with 734 wins over 18 seasons. Texas coach Pierce was fired Monday after going 295 and 162 in 8 seasons at Texas. The Longhorns have not won a national title in baseball since legendary coach Augie Garrido won it all in 2005. Next season, they're joining the Aggies in the SEC, a league that has produced 5 consecutive national championships.
I gotta ask this too. So I was gonna say, how versed are you in Texas geography?
I would say I could take a schloss at it.
There it is. All right.
That was terrible.
Well, roll with it.
I liked it.
Yeah,
okay.
Roll with it.
All right, we're rolling.
So, all right, Jim Schlossnagel, if we're saying that right.
I think you nailed it.
Says
right.
He's leaving A&M for Texas, right? And he's like, I moved to Texas, family thing, everything else. Because that was my first time hearing the article when you were talking about it. How far do you think he's going down the road?
From College Station to Austin?
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a good question.
Just ballpark it.
Oh, God. I feel like
Texas is a big state.
Oh, I know. And, West Texas, Lubbock, Texas Tech, that's way the hell out there. But Austin, College Station, they're probably a little bit closer. I'm going to just throw out 2 hours.
Perfect. Hour, 51 minutes, according to Google Maps.
Bingo.
I was going to say 97 miles.
So, yeah, he's really making the big move and big life change. But I was going to say, I'm always of the piece, too. Like, let's say that and everything else, and his focus was A&M, and this is the last place he was going to coach. Goes with all that. Let's say this, though, too. Moving to a rival.
Yeah.
That's always...
And a rival that's going into your conference.
Yeah.
Because Texas A&M went to the SEC, what, 8-9 years ago, maybe? Time is flying. Maybe less than that.
It's been a while, 2012 or so?
Yeah, 12 years ago.
That's nuts.
That is nuts.
Yeah.
And now Texas is moving into the SEC as well. So SEC baseball next year, they're just going to beat the crap out of each other. They always do. Kind of in football, too. But wild times next year.
But, yeah, I mean, going to the rival, that's the extra where you stick the dagger finger in and you twist.
Yeah.
Yeah, July 1st, 2012, when A&M and Missouri got into the conference.
That long?
I know, man. It's been wild. And this
years.
right here, though, as a fan, because yesterday, we had Morgan on. Who's
who's a huge
fan. She's sitting there on the couch before we even bring her in. And I'm seeing on Texas, Schlossnagle going, or I'm seeing on Twitter, Schlossnagle's going to Texas. And we had talked about that and like, no way. She was excited that David Pierce was out at Texas.
Yeah.
And, you've got all of these rumors, Schloss is going to Texas. And like, no way. You're sitting here at the College World Series. That doesn't make any sense. Why would he do that? You've got a great opportunity here. They're about to rebuild the facilities for you.
Yep.
Everything is kind of in your favor there. And then you just take the knife and stab it into the 12th man's heart. Just ridiculous. And now there's some conspiracies coming out of his time at Texas, at TCU. His time at Texas A&M. How he's dealing with it, or some situations with his family and whatnot. Now, I don't know if these are fan brought up conspiracies.
Well, and he's from Maryland. That's what Michigan Eddie said. He's not even from the great state of Texas.
Right, but we'll see, because, fans, they start reaching for every little thing.
Yeah.
So we'll see if there's any validity to this, and if so, we'll start talking about it. But some of the things that I'm reading right now are absolutely wild. And, here's the other thing is, you're in the middle of this run. You can't tell me that 48% of your brain isn't more focused on what's ahead of you at Texas and what you got to do there, because it's out of sight, out of mind, even if you're sitting there staring at it in the face.
Yeah, you can't say that you can block that completely out while you're making a run at the national championship. It doesn't. You're human. Yeah. You're always. That's what we do as humans. You're looking forward. You're looking to the what's next. What am I looking forward to, et cetera, et cetera. And yeah, pretty wild stuff though. Some interesting off-season news that broke yesterday. That's for sure. Pretty crazy too. You had a Texas A&M fan in there. We'll dive into those conspiracies, Michigan Eddie, once we get some more validity to them, because I think they're a little bit wild. Right?
I mean, wild is an understatement, boy. We're talking pineapples and all kind of things.
Oh, boy, yeah. See, there you go. Not quite ready there yet for radio, Michigan Eddie. Across the about 4 hours and 15 minutes down I-10 from us, the Jacksonville Jaguars and the city of Jacksonville finally reached an agreement yesterday approving the $1.4 billion stadium renovation deal. The Jaguars announced the news on Tuesday with new renderings of the stadium, which the team hopes to have completed by the start of the 2028 season. And it does look like they're not going to have to, they're only going to have to play in an alternate venue for looks like one season coming up. But great news coming out of the city council. Approved a renovation with a 14-1 vote, with 2 people abstaining from the vote, per A.G. Gazkarski of FloridaPolitics.com. The city is now set to contribute $775 million in public funding, while the Jags have agreed to provide $625 million. According to the timeline shared along the side of the new renderings, the Jags plan to spend the 2024 and 25 seasons at Everbank Stadium, where the team has played under various stadium names since its inaugural 1995 season. The 2026 season would still be played at Everbank, but with a limited capacity of 43,500 fans, according to the team. Jaguars plan to play in an alternate venue, still to be determined, for the 2027 season, before making their debut at the new arena in 2028. The renderings show a fixed roof, which the team hopes will provide shade for fans in a city where game day temperatures climb to over 100 degrees as well. This is a fun one, as well as a reflective material that will wrap the new stadium. The original plan for renovations included the Jags and the city combining to commit $300 million to community benefits, including funding for parks in nearby East Side neighborhood, per Rick Anderson of the Jacksonville Day Record. The city ended up committing $56 million to maintaining riverfront parks, while the Jags agreed to pay $119 million into the community over 30 years. Very long-term kind of investment, not only with the city, but the team of Jacksonville into making Jacksonville an even better place.
That sounds great for both sides, because that's one of the pieces where you've seen it time and time again, where teams, if they don't secure that long-term plan, like when I was out in San Diego, it was right before the Chargers had bolted.
Yeah, what a mess that was.
No pun intended on the bolt.
Ooh, nice.
But it's one of those pieces where, at least for Jacksonville, there's been so much talk floating around because they were the London Jags at some point. I mean, are they still doing, 2 over there this
year? I think
year?
they're doing 2 this season coming up, yeah.
But no, I think it's good for the overall city of Jacksonville, and biggest question on my mind's, are there pools on the new one?
In the renderings I've seen before today, I've seen the pool.
Nice.
Well, the 2 times we've been there, we sat in very similar locations, and the pool was just kind of right up there above us.
I think that should be definitely included in the
it has
the future
to be,
stadium.
right?
Yeah.
You did that, almost 30 years ago? You got to include it going forward.
If anything, like maybe that's in the luxury boxes where you get the little, maybe not a hot tub, but mini pool. Or
yeah, it's kind of like the villas and places you can stay.
Yeah.
You got your own little soak pool.
Yeah, you're down in Cancun, you got your little private pool there. Yeah. Why not in Jacksonville?
Might as well.
Step it up.
Goes hand in hand.
Love it.
But to your point, you've got to secure these long-term deals. And, look what's happening with the Kansas City Chiefs right now. They're bouncing back potentially between 2 different states.
Great point.
And, they need renovations on their stadiums. Stadiums, they don't last forever, and they got to be up. And
Don't tell that to Fenway Park.
Yeah, that's true. And baseball, there just seems to be so much more tradition in baseball. So a lot of those things kind of hang around and kind of have to stay. But, I mean, the Carolina Panthers have just committed $650 million or something like that to do some stadium upgrades. The Tennessee Titans have done about to do huge stadium upgrades. The MetLife Stadium's fairly new. And
I say with football, doesn't it seem like the stadiums, like they are their quickest turn?
Yeah.
Like compared to any other sport. It's the football. I know, granted, football is probably the biggest moneymaker there is in professional sports.
You got the most money to make stuff happen the quickest.
Right. But, I mean, how long is your shelf life for a stadium now? Like 8 years?
It's probably about right. I mean, you got the Bills. I forgot the Bills, too. They're building their stadium. Josh Allen out there with his hard hat making some stuff happen. But they do it, too, which is crazy. I mean, Florida State's doing it right now with their renovations where they can actually continue to play versus, these are stadiums that are being upgraded or renovated versus, blowing up the old one and building a new one, which you do see. I mean, the Astrodome's been gone, the Kingdom been gone. There's been a lot of them that just been demolished and rebuilt.
Right.
But if you don't have an alternate place to play, that's just not an option. So
that's a great point. And I'm interested. Did the article say where they were going to do that, the gap year or whatever, the 2027?
Yet to be determined, the 2027 year.
Okay. I saw that it was either University of Florida campus in Gainesville, which I think would be nuts.
Yeah.
Because, college atmosphere for
and
one season.
Holds like 90,000+ people.
So I think it'd be pretty good. And then I heard Camping World Stadium in Orlando.
UCF plays, yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And those were the 2 that, like, when they were starting to figure all this out, they're like, are they just going to go play there the next couple of years and get this done, faster? I don't know if it would make it any faster, but obviously they had to secure the funding and the long range plans and all that stuff first. But I would guess it would be one of those places just from a geographic standpoint. But the only tricky thing is if you got a Florida home game on Saturday and you've got a, Jags game the next day, that's a quick turnaround for that stadium crew. You got to get the paint out, all that stuff. And you see that a lot of indoor venues, but an outdoor venue may be a little different story. Ran a little bit long in that one, but you're listening to the Inside Drive. When we get back, a huge trade happened in the NBA yesterday, and the NBA draft, one of the more not exciting ones, except for maybe LeBron's son. Hopefully he doesn't go tomorrow or today, but goes tomorrow. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida.
ESPN Northwest Florida, available on all your devices.
Connected.
Hear your favorite sports talk hosts.
The Coach James Hale Show.
You're listening to the Inside Drive live.
The afternoon underdog.
And your favorite teams.
Braves win it!
We're live on the app. Tune in, Alexa, ESPNPC.com, Facebook, YouTube, and in your car at 101.9 and 104.3. Wherever you go, there we are. ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is Joanna with ESPN Northwest Florida. Here is your weather forecast on this Wednesday morning. As we head into this afternoon and evening, a chance of thunderstorms and some sun and a high of 89 with a moderate breeze out of the west-southwest around 14 miles per hour. For tonight, possible thunderstorms and partly cloudy skies and a low near 80. This weather forecast is brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
The battle for a 7th straight division crown is on, and the Braves are on a charge to bring it home to Atlanta.
Swung on a fly ball, deep left center field. That is down for a base hit. Michael Harris taking no prisoners. Braves win it in the bottom of the 10th.
Tonight, the Braves and Cardinals get one final battle from Busch Stadium in St. Louis as they look for a big National League win on the road.
Coverage starts at 6. First pitch, 6:15. Chris Sale taking the mound. You're home for the Braves, ESPN, Northwest Florida.
Are you tired of hearing 2 weeks when you call to get your boat worked on? Hey folks, it's Chris Kramer with Kramer Marine and Outdoor, and we'll get you in and back out on the water as quick as possible. We're a full-line Yamaha outboard dealer and Suzuki outboard dealer, and we have master-trained certified mechanics on site. So if it's just an annual service, electronics install, trolling motor install, or all the way up to a full repower, we can take care of you. So stop by and see us in the corner of Frankfurt and 23rd next to Bill Kramer GM, or call us at 850-851-0453.
Hi folks, it's Tracy with Tracy's Fine Jewelry and Coin and Bullion Reserves. Did you know that we do more than just sell some of the finest jewelry in town? We can engrave on your wedding band, locket, Yeti cup, or almost anything. Need your watch battery changed? We can do that too. Our expert will even evaluate your coin collection. And of course, we always pay top dollar for your old gold and silver jewelry. See, there's a lot more to Tracy's Fine Jewelry than a lot of pretty sparkly things. Come and see us today at Tracy's Fine Jewelry.
And now the Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey.
We're gonna have a talk.
Tell me what you know.
You're out!
Broadcasting from the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine Outdoor Studios.
It's a frantic noise.
ESPN, Northwest Florida.
And welcome back. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Although we had Doc A on yesterday talking some NBA, if we would have had him on one more day, we would have had a lot to talk about with him today, as there was a huge trade that went down yesterday, right before on the eve, of the NBA draft, and that is Mikal Bridges. He is on the move. The Brooklyn Nets are trading the 27-year-old to the New York Knicks in exchange for Bojan Bogdanovic, as well as a ton of draft capital. The Knicks are sending 4 unprotected picks, 2025, 27, 29, 31, and a 2025 protected Milwaukee first, and a 28 unprotected pick swap, and a 2025 second-round pick for Mikal Bridges, and a 2026 second-round pick. Sources tell ESPN. Adrian Wojnarowski reported this one. Bridges was among one of the hottest names on the trade market this past winter, though Brooklyn dealing him comes as somewhat of a surprise after first reported in January that he believed the franchise intent was to build around the rising star. The Nets initially required Bridges back in the 2022-23 season in a deal that sent Kevin Durant to the Phoenix Suns. He quickly emerged as an impact player, averaging 26.1 points, 4.5 rebounds, 2.7 assists in games while shooting 47.5% from the floor and almost 38% from behind the arc. He put together another strong season this past year, averaging 19.6, 4.5, 3.6 in 82 games while shooting 43% and 37 behind the arc. Despite his best efforts, the Nets still struggled to a 32-50 record and an 11th place finish in the Eastern Conference. He will now, Bridges that is, will now become a part of the postseason contender at Madison Square Garden, where he will join former Villanova teammates Jalen Brunson and Josh Hart, as well as Dante DiVincenzo. The Knicks hope to build on that Wildcats chemistry as they look to make a deeper run into the playoffs next season. Brunson and Hart helped power the Knicks to a 50-win regular season, but could not lead the team past a second-round matchup with the Indiana Pacers as injuries tested the roster's depth. Bridges can bring secondary scoring that will help the Knicks lineup. If New York is able to re-sign offensive guard Newby, the team could return with a new and improved makeup with a potential run for a title in 2025. What's crazy with this whole thing is the whole Kevin Durant situation in this. Obviously, that blockbuster trade. Josh Hart and Brunson have been trying to work this into existence. Fun fact, Bill, as we like those here on this show.
Sure
this
do.
is the first trade between the Nets and the Knicks since 1983.
I believe it. Crosstown rivals, just like we were talking about.
Well, now they're in Brooklyn, too. Jeez.
Right down the next borough down, basically. I mean, good for the Knicks, though. For the front office, it sounds like they're finally starting to, cash in the picks that they've been stockpiling, and they're coming back into relevance because, I mean, you're in New York, you're the Knicks, you should be a premier team in a premier market.
Absolutely. A lot of pressure there in the old NYC. And last time New York had a championship in anything. Giants?
Anything?
Giants? Even though they're in New Jersey.
Yeah. Would it be the Giants? Gotta be, right?
Because the Yankees haven't won one in a long time, right?
Yanks, it's been a while.
It's been a while. Knicks haven't won one in a lot.
Forever.
Yeah, like back in 80s.
Oh, the Jets. Oh, wait, no.
Yeah, no, that's like 1973.
I gotta take my Jet shots.
Yeah. They bring shots upon themselves. That's for sure. But
Islanders were 80s. It gotta be Giants.
Gotta be the Giants, right?
Yeah.
2 Super
I
Bowls
think
with
so.
Eli.
Yep. And then Rangers was Messier and all that.
Yeah, 94.
Yeah.
Whew.
So, yeah.
They talk about Dallas and all the pressure down there in Dallas, but man, New York right there with them. Although the Giants did win 2. But now.
I remember those.
Now they got Danny Dimes and is DeVito still there? Tommy? He's probably, I don't know.
Call his mom, ask about those cutlets.
Yeah, that's true. Tommy Cutlets. That's one of the better nicknames out there. That's for sure.
Don't you think with the NBA too, like, isn't it wild how, like, once the season wraps up, the off season can almost be more entertaining sometimes?
And it's like instantaneous.
Right. And it's like, we got draft. All right, let's start. Let's, get the dominoes going where all these players, and again, I think it's been more over in reality the past decade where you are seeing these crazy, like, blockbuster mega deals happen in the NBA.
Yeah, huge deals.
Yeah.
Another little funny fun fact. Between these 5 picks for Bridges and the initial 4 picks from Phoenix, the Nets essentially got 9 first-rounders and 2 swaps for Kevin Durant.
Not bad.
Not bad at all. 11 total people for one Kevin Durant, who has gone on to do what since he left the Nets?
Not too much.
Not a whole lot.
Wow. Which
he's had a few burner accounts on Twitter.
Burn. No pun intended.
I was back here talking with Coach Hale, but you guys mentioned the trade.
Yeah.
Mikal Bridges.
The huge trade,
Man, I don't even care about the trading pieces or whatever.
Which there was a lot of them.
There was a lot of pieces. But now you've got 4 kids from Villanova over there, led by Jalen Brunson. Mikal Bridges was one of my favorite players on that Villanova team, or at least favorite players to watch. And with Dante DiVincenzo and Josh Hart, the role players that they're gonna have there now, they're probably not gonna have Harstein, and there's another one that they're more than likely they're not gonna be able to re-sign him. But I am excited to watch that squad, being able to watch them against the Pacers in the playoffs, and just the heart that those kids have and the amount of minutes that they were able to play. I'm excited about these New York Knicks in 2025, man.
Well, like we were just talking about, and you can probably know this off the top of your head, and I think we got it. I dig Dallas all the time, especially the Cowboys. It's my job being a Niners fan, but they haven't. I think their last championship was when the Mavs won it, whenever that was. But you think about the New York and how it's such a pressure city to win. You got Madison Square Garden, but the Knicks haven't won a championship in forever.
Mm-hmm.
The Rangers haven't won a championship since '94. The Islanders haven't won a championship since the '80s. So, and the Jets, what, Joe Namath, 1973, something like that. So it's got to be the New York Giants that were the last winning of a championship for the city of New York, even though the Giants and the Jets don't even play in the. When did the Yankees
2009.
win? See, I knew he would know.
Yep.
So
back-to-back years, I believe, there. And then for the Islanders in the 80s, they had the 4, right?
Yep,
yeah, so they just, it's kind of like scoring too many runs in one game.
Yeah.
They just compiled them all in one time.
They peaked them all in a small period of time. So the Yankees did get one still.
09.
Yeah.
But we were saying most recent.
Yeah.
So it was the Giants.
Yeah, because
11, 12.
Yeah.
Yep. Was that the
2012 Super Bowl?
Yep.
Yeah.
That stopped. Yeah, that stopped the perfect season.
Flip that. This was the revenge one for the Pats.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
Nope. Eli did it again.
How can that be so long ago? How can that be over 10 years ago?
Time.
Time is a thief.
All the time just keeps on rolling.
Time is a thief, no doubt about that. Real quick, it gets started tonight. That's the NBA draft. It's wild. The season ends, and then boom, NBA draft. I think the NHL draft is coming up next week, something like that. And they're doing it at the Sphere as well. We'll have to talk about.
I don't even think it's next week. I think that's happening like
now too.
Kinda, yeah, because it's Vegas, and I think, with the NHL, this was its longest calendar season ever.
Yep.
So it pushed the limit.
Definitely.
I got a gripe about the NBA draft. You've got 2 rounds and you're going to do it in 2 days. That's ridiculous.
Does anybody watch it?
I've never watched the NBA draft.
I mean,
I've watched
you
the.
could just go,
I watched the
oh,
lottery.
He took him. Yeah, good stuff. But yeah, 2 days for 2 rounds.
That'd be ridiculous, man. I don't even know who half the guys are. Apparently, this isn't a great draft class, anyways.
Nope.
And you got a lot of foreign kids coming in, which hey, that's kind of become the norm. And then Donovan Clingan is probably, to me, one of the better players in the draft. And of course, you've got all of the stories with Bronny.
So, funny you should ask, because Bleacher Report's last official mock draft with the Atlanta Hawks with the number 1 pick projected, again, this is a mock draft from Bleacher Report, taking Zachary Risasher. He is obviously not American.
I think it's Rashard.
Rashard. And he's always good with the pronunciation.
There it is.
He played for the
Scott Van Pelt.
There you go. He played for JL Bougainville. He's a shooting guard and a strong forward, 6'8", 204. He's 19 years old, another Frenchman. The Hawks have worked out him and Matas Buzelis, despite failing to get Alex Starr in the building. Sources tell Bleacher Report that Starr is higher on Atlanta's board than both. I did hear some rumors of the potential number 1 pick trying to avoid going to the Atlanta Hawks, but that's kind of the world we live in right now. Washington Wizards, Alex Sarr. He is with the Perth Wildcats. He's a power forward center at 7 foot, 224 pounds. He is also from France. He's 19 years old. And a lot of these Frenchmen, got Wemby, got all these guys. The Houston Rockets via the Nets. Reed Shepard from Kentucky. He's a point guard, shooting guard. He's a freshman. He's 20 years old, 6'2", 182, projected in Bleacher Report's mock draft to go number 3. San Antonio Spurs trying to build around Wemby. Stephon Castle out of Connecticut, shooting guard, 6'6", 210. He's a freshman, obviously from the United States of America. Number 5 up there, the Detroit Pistons don't have a coach yet, but they might be drafting Matas Buzelis. God, man, there's some crazy names. He's in the G League. He plays for a Knight. He's a strong forward, 6'9", 197 pounds. These guys need to put on some beef. 6'9", 197. That's a beanpole. And then getting to what David was mentioning, the Charlotte Hornets with the 6th pick, potentially maybe taking Donovan Clingan. He is obviously from Connecticut. He's a center, 7'2", 282. Did he win the Naismith Player of the Year this past year in college basketball?
I would imagine that would have been Zach Edey.
Zach Edey is the gentleman I was thinking of.
Which I believe one of the mock drafters compared Zach Edey to Shaq, and he needs to have his mock draft license revoked.
Yeah.
Anyone?
You can't.
Did you watch Zach Edey, bro?
Yeah. You cannot compare him to Shaq, no doubt about it.
I mean, if he was playing high school ball at this level, then yes, you could compare him to Shaq and his presence in the paint. Outside of that, when you put him against guys like Wembanyama, Wembanyama's going to skate circles around him, or rather, not skate, but move circles around him.
Yeah, it'll look like skating.
Yes,
it
will.
Good. Yeah, I was kind of scrolling down. The Sacramento Kings 13 Bleacher Report's predicting Zach Edey to go to. He's 7'4", 299. He was a senior there at Purdue. And yeah, no, I agree with you on that one. So. And it goes on to go through, but yeah, it's just wild. Hopefully, obviously the big topic of this draft, because there's not really any, compared to last year with Wemby and what's the guy for Oakland, Chet Holmgren, all those guys.
Chet Holmgren was 2 years ago.
2 years ago?
Yeah, because he got injured in his rookie season.
Ah, that's right. Yeah. So that's why he was still eligible for the rookie of the year. Gotcha.
Actually, I don't even know if he made it to the regular season. I think that he got injured in preseason.
That makes sense. That would make sense. That's for sure. But I don't know where I was going with that. I lost my train of thought.
You were just talking about how the draft class was better.
Oh, yeah. So the talk is going to be, is Bronny going to get drafted? And I'm thinking he probably will. Hopefully not. If he gets drafted today, I think it's going to be a disaster. But we'll see what happens.
That's the beauty of you never know what's going to happen in a draft.
Well, and this is the other thing, right? We're talking about a poor draft class. Or there's not a lot of prospects in here that teams are necessarily drooling over.
Yeah.
Which player in this draft class is going to make you the most money when it comes to marketing? At least for the first couple of years, right?
Yeah.
So you can take your swing on someone in the first or second round, but the guy who's going to be the most marketable for you for at least 2 to 3 years is going to be Bronny James.
Yeah, as long as he doesn't go to the Lakers.
Well, that's a great point. If you're, team president, GM, anything like that, that is a fantastic point for the dollar signs that come about with just bringing him on board. But, I guess that's the point of a weaker draft class, is you don't really have to worry about repercussions as much.
Yeah, that's true. You don't have, the expectation may not be as high, so you get a little more leeway with that kind of stuff.
Yeah. It's always fun seeing how, reporters and everybody try to hype up a draft that nobody's really looking forward to.
Yep, makes it tough. That's for sure. Makes it tough. But completely unrelated, but College Football 25, we mentioned it's crazy now that we're doing the video game releases and the crazy stuff with this. The toughest places to play in EA Sports college football, which do they actually have real correlation to real life? I don't know. That's up for debate and one of those things to talk about, but let me see. Oh, we do have a caller on the line, and it's our good friend, the sports director up there at ESPN Richmond. Alan, what's up, man?
Nothing much, man. I haven't been on station or on air all week, so I figured I'd give you guys a call and take up some of your airtime.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. What you want to talk about? We were talking a little NBA draft and how kind of low-key not great it is and what's going to happen with Bronny. And then, of course, the huge blockbuster trade that went down yesterday with the Knicks just kind of trying to make some stuff happen, basically having Villanova 2.0 trying to go win a championship.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to make fun of. Like, trade 5 first rounds and a swap for a guy who's never made the All-Star game or All-Star team, and then you're selling everybody on this idea that Jalen Brunson is this superstar, and we've got years and years of data showing that building your team around a guard that size doesn't work in the NBA. But the Knicks are going to get it right. They're gonna defy all logic. That's what everybody's saying. It's the most ridiculous thing ever. It's a bad move. I wouldn't call it a losing move, but it's not a move that makes you better.
That's exactly what I expected you to say, Alan.
But it is a move that is going to make them fun to watch if it does work out into the playoffs. I agree with you that I don't think it's a championship type move at all. But that Villanova going from 3 to 4, I think is going to be fun. But you're right, building around the guard is not the prototype to winning championships.
Yeah, and what I keep trying to figure out is, like, what is your goal? If you're an NBA franchise, if you're the Knicks, your target is the Boston Celtics. Like, you have to beat the Celtics. That's the new standard. And you got to overcome some other obstacles along the way, but ideally, you want to match up against the Celtics. And I'm like, dude, you had OG, and you swapped him out for Bridges, who isn't known to be that great of a defender. Like, I don't understand. Like, it just seems like they really went for the Villanova squad in full, but you don't got Jay Wright. You got Thibodeau. What are we doing?
Yeah. It's interesting and, just a tough draft this year, kind of hard to get really excited about. But, I'm going to have to ask you, what do you think the deal with Bronny is?
I think the deal is that he is fortunate his father is LeBron. Fair. But also people gotta give my man somewhat of a break. Like, he literally almost died a year ago.
Yeah.
And so he had to get back into playing shape. It took a little bit of time. It's not like USC is a basketball powerhouse. You're not drafting people off of their stats. You're drafting them off of their potential, and that's a Jerry West type loosely quote there, but like, his potential is pretty high. The ceiling is pretty high on Bronny. He's got range as a defender. He's got the ability to develop at worst into a decent 3-and-D type guy, which is an asset in today's NBA. So you got to give him a chance. His athletic upside is pretty high too.
Yeah, there you go, Alan. You got time? We got a quick break to take. You want to hang on for a little bit?
Yeah, sure. I ain't got nothing else to do.
There you go. We got Keith coming up at the top of the hour, but we got at least another 20 minutes to go. You're listening to The Inside Drive. Alan Sandage on the line. We'll be right back.
America's team plays here.
Swing and a miss. Struck him out. That's number 10.
The Atlanta Braves on ESPN Northwest Florida. Charlie Morton, Max Fried, and Chris Sale lead the Braves' dominant pitching rotation.
That's 18 up, 18 down.
Sponsored by Panama City Toyota, LS Agency Insurance, Bestway Portable Buildings, PCB Hobby, and ESPN Northwest Florida.
Got him swinging, strike 3.
Life can take us so many places. And at Panama City Toyota, we're here to make sure every drive is worth every minute. Maybe you want a fun, fuel-efficient car for everyday driving. Or you need a dependable vehicle that really gets the job done. Sometimes it's all about answering the call of the wild. And when you're ready to shop, reserve your vehicle online and choose your options. Or we'll help you in person, even if you started the process at home. Whatever works for you, always works for us.
With over 65 years of combined experience, Instant Replay Sports Cards is happy to help you take your collection to the next level. They carry all the new hobby boxes, signed memorabilia, and supplies. New and vintage cards in Pokemon. They sell and trade cards and are always looking to buy. They're an authorized source for Topps, Panini, Upper Deck, and Leaf cards. Instant Replay Sports Cards is open 7 days a week at 752 West 23rd Street, down from Academy Sports. It can always be reached at InstantReplaySportsCards.com.
Your biggest investment is your home. Protect it while also improving its appearance with Earthworks of Northwest Florida. We have sand, mulch, gravel, or lay down decorative stone, all available for pickup and delivery. Discover your dream landscape with Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Imagine the moment you proudly pull up to your home that you've worked so hard for, enhanced by quality mulch, decorative stones, and more. Let's make it happen today. Request a quote online at earthworkspc.com or swing by the office at 2005 Industrial Drive. Love the you live on.
Broadcasting from the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine Outdoor Studios. He has over 10 items in the express lane. He pays with checks and he doesn't return his shopping carts.
You have ruined groceries for me.
Now back to Ryan Mulvey and the Inside Drive. ESPN Northwest Florida. Not sorry.
And we are back. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Alan Sandage on the line. Alan, got to ask you real quick what you thought of those Florida Panthers winning their first ever Stanley Cup in history, and they're doing some Florida things with that cup, bringing it out in the ocean, letting it float, pouring beer off balconies. But, you know, Edmonton Oilers, they were close. They almost came back, almost made Florida one of those teams that people would remember in history, but here they are now celebrating the Stanley Cup.
My curse lives on, man. I picked the Panthers last year, and this year I picked the Oilers. So if we're ever looking to do a Stanley Cup future, let's just go against whoever I pick.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I feel that way with a lot of other bets as well. But pretty cool to see, Florida win a cup for the first time ever.
Yeah, and playoff hockey is unmatched.
It's
man.
peak. It's peak.
It was like Game 7 of like the baseball, like any kind of baseball postseason, last at bat. Like that feeling that you get when you're watching MLB was like hockey every single night. No matter who was playing, it was always intense.
That's a great analogy.
In that game, it was crazy. Like I think the Panthers pretty much just defended for like 8 minutes.
Yeah.
And there was one time where the goalie pretty much like threw his body into the way of the puck because I was like, he didn't even have a stick. I was like, what is going on? How are they not scoring?
Just chaos.
You know, I was cheering for the Oilers, but
yeah.
I loved it, man. Every minute.
It's awesome. I mean, we've been talking heavy hockey. Bill went to school with me at Coastal. He's been hanging out the last couple weeks while Jay's doing some other things, but he's a huge hockey guy. He's from the Northeast Boston fan. So we've been talking heavy hockey, and I agree. I think, and even Liam, who watched the entire Game 7 with me, who was rooting for Florida, not really sure why, but was rooting for Florida, and they were up 2-1 in the third period, and he looked at me because the score, like you said, the scoring chances, he's like, this is so nerve-wracking, and and he watches Niner games with me, Super Bowl game, like to a T, and he's watching this hockey game just on edge because you're like, are they going to score? Are they going to score? This is to it, and it never lets up, and it's just, oh man, it's just exciting stuff.
Yeah, I feel bad for all the people who had the Oilers. One guy had a lot of.
Whoop, you there?
And then felt like you made a mistake. You went back and it was stressful.
Yeah, but hey, here we are, and the draft will get going here shortly at the Sphere. But
Friday and Saturday. I knew it was only a couple days away. Yeah.
So yeah, well, there you go. NBA, then NHL, back to back.
Yep.
And then we'll be getting closer to football season. That's for sure.
Do you know what one pin note for the hockey was that it was a storyline that I think got completely forgotten about? This was the last real run for McDavid and Draisaitl together.
Yeah,
he is up after this year. And if you're an NHL team, you're not going to throw a pile of money at him to become like a new captain I mean, it's the old Batman and Robin analogy.
Yeah.
Where this could have been it for those two. And I know it's the same thing where you go and talk to the press, and locker clean out day for them, I'm sure, is probably either today, tomorrow, a couple days from now. But I think Draisaitl's done up that way.
Little reminiscent of Messier and Gretzky with the Oilers back in the 80s.
Kind of, yeah. Gretzky signed that huge contract back in the day, so maybe it'll be the same thing where Draisaitl can go command a pile of money.
Yeah. Which would be sad because it's so fun watching those two guys play together. But like you always say, it's a business of sports.
Yep.
Business of sports. Hey, Alan, one of your wheelhouses is obviously track and field. I wanted to ask you a couple questions. You know, obviously a 16-year-old running against men is impossible, but how incredible was the feat of Quincy Wilson to do what he did, not only just to qualify for the final, but to not even, you know, to kind of hang in there a little bit?
Yeah, I was telling my friend, I was like, bro, he's 16.
16.
Like, just from a scientific development standpoint, he shouldn't be competing. Like, these are grown men, way stronger, way more conditioned, and then you factor in experience, and he held his own. I was impressed.
That just means down the road, this kid's going to be insane.
Yeah, I'm even lobbying for him to be an alternate on the relay team in the event that somebody drops out. I think he should be the first one that they put on. Like, his time wasn't bad at all.
Yeah, crazy. I mean, you just don't see that ever really, and especially in track and field, because like you said, a 16-year-old person versus a 24-year-old or 25-year-old person is a completely different physiological ball game. So
yeah.
Cool to see.
The 19-year-old from Florida who did the sprint.
Yeah.
He wasn't even. He was in the finals for the 100-meter, and it didn't even look like he was running hard at all. Even though he's super fast, everybody else was so much faster. So to put that into context, what the 16-year-old did on the 400 is just even more incredible.
Yeah. Crazy stuff. The Olympics are getting close, Bill. Hey, Coastal Carolina. We had a Coastal Carolina being alum that we are, Melissa Jefferson. She raced to a first place finish with a time of 10.91 in her women's 100-meter prelims Friday night and advanced to the semifinals, and then of course had the second fastest time there with behind Sha'Carri Richardson's 10.88, and she's since qualified, or she will be trying to qualify for, I think she's made it to Paris already from what I understand, but she's still going to be running in the 100-meter final scheduled for, that was last Saturday, so she is in.
Okay.
Pretty cool stuff. She's right there behind Sha'Carri too.
Sha'Carri can be beat, man. I know I don't want to see her get beat, but those starts, like, again, for somebody that's been around track, it's really painful. Really painful. It would be the equivalent of you watching somebody swing wedges with the wrong hand placement. Like, what are you doing? How does that happen? Like, at this level, like, you see somebody get this far, just defying fundamental logic, but she's so strong as a finisher. Like, her top speed is so ridiculous that she literally she's giving everybody at least 2 to 3 tenths of a head start, and she's still beating them by 2 to 3 tenths.
Phew. That's how, like you said, that's how strong. I mean, if she gets a good start out the blocks and doesn't go crazy, then it should be an easy one, right?
If she ever gets a good start, I'm telling you, she's low 10.6. She might even tease a high 10.5. I kid you not. I really think she's that fast. And you're talking 10.5, you're talking Flojo area.
Yeah.
But she's really that strong of a finisher, man. Like, she's one of a kind, that's for sure, because anybody else that comes out the blocks as slow as she is would get dusted.
Man, exciting stuff. I mean, talk about it too. I forget the gentleman's name, but the shot put guy, is he? He's an American, right? And he's got 2 back-to-back world records or something like that. And a heavy favorite to win the gold over there.
Yeah, and I was gonna say he's a monster. And having done shot and discus myself, I love that he studied film. I don't know if you guys saw the build-up, but he actually broke down his film with Peyton Manning and showed the little nuance that he does in his throw and his mechanics that's allowed him to get more distance and power on it. And it's something that was always told as a shot putter not to do, but he kind of slowed his rhythm down, and he emphasizes the angle in which he turns on his spin, and that allows him to get under it, get his hips more through, and has added some significant distance to his throws. Like, he's amazing. He's amazing. Like, from a technical standpoint, I was blown away because the guy behind him, I think, was probably stronger, but he just doesn't have the technique. He just can't get his hips through like the world champion can.
It's funny how in a lot of sports how important those hips are. Golf, throwing the football, even hockey. I mean, when you're in sequence and everything is going in the same direction, you can create a heck of a lot of power. That's for sure. I'm looking forward to watching. I'm looking forward to the Olympics in general. I just love the Olympics.
Isn't it nuts that it's basically a month away, right?
Yeah.
And can you imagine being these athletes and you're a month out and you're just figuring out like if you're going to get in for the final like spots?
Pressure.
Like, you're
no
training
doubt.
all this time for years, and it's like, all right, I'm going to find out with about a month left to go.
And the world champion for the sprints, Noah Lyles, is from Virginia, so we hype him up.
Nice, nice. Yeah. Did you see that? I don't know if you saw this or not. That Michael Johnson is launching Grand Slam Track, the world's highest-paying track circuit, with over $2 million in prize money, salaries, and business class travel for the top stars, and more. What do you think about that?
I think that's an awesome idea.
It's great for the sport.
It will catch on. I don't know if you guys have seen the specs on the facility at Oregon. It's incredible. So, like, track is a money maker for the athletes if they get the endorsements, and it's something that we all care about every 4 years.
Yeah.
But I tell people all the time, one of the most fan favorite events I've ever been to was the Penn Relays.
Yeah.
And we have a lot of Hall of Fame journalists and stuff that come through our station, and when you ask them what their favorite sporting event to attend is, I tell you a vast majority of them have track in their top three. Like, it's like the state tournament because of the excitement, the drama, and like the jumps and everything, like just to see people compete, and it's mano a mano,
Yep.
And I think people love to watch that kind of stuff. So I'm pretty sure it'll get on, and obviously having Michael Johnson's name tied to it will help as well.
I think it's great for the sport too. Like you were saying, it's every 4 years that we're paying attention and looking for. I mean, these people are training all the time, but to be able to see them more and actually not just make money with just endorsements, but have an opportunity to use their talent and stuff. But yeah, I mean, track meets are just intense. It's you are, and just what you see. Even I went to a middle school track meet because Ryan was running, but one of our kids on our team was a high jumper, and I'm like, how did these? It's just amazing what these people can do in these track meets, and it's a lot of fun to watch.
And there's no personality like a sprinter. Absolutely, one of a kind. One of a kind.
No doubt about it.
That's me spending so much. Like, I tell people out there, two athletes I can't stand: receivers and sprinters. You can't tell them nothing, man. Nothing. They're the most uncoachable people in the history of coaching.
I wonder why that is. A lot of running. Al, we got about 2 minutes. I'll throw you another curveball here. Who do you like? We're getting closer to the round of 16, which gets started this Saturday for the Euros. Who do you like in the European Championship? And then I'll ask you the same question about the Copa America.
For the European Championship, I gotta give my guy Ronaldo in Portugal a look. I just think they've got good chemistry going right now, and we've seen a Ronaldo that's willing to pass, which is quite interesting. And I just think because they've got a tough group for their knockout stage, but I feel like they can get through with just the quality of their chemistry and at the top with Ronaldo. And then for Copa, I wish it was America, but I don't really see a reason to go against Argentina right now.
Yeah.
As long as Messi's healthy.
And he's not playing in the Olympics, so I'm sure he's going to give everything he can to this Copa America tournament. So
Messi went out last night for a little bit there with I think it was
that's what I said,
thigh. Yeah. Because I ended up watching that at a little taco joint last night, and the Argentinian faithful were there with a flag and everything. It was a good time just being able to watch that, and it was I always forget the name of the Spanish sports station that.
Telemundo?
It's not Telemundo. No. Is it though? It's like Uni or something like that?
I know what you're talking about because it's on YouTube TV.
Yeah, I think it was Univision. So yeah, that was fun.
I like to listen to it in Spanish. It's more intense.
I was shocked they didn't have the volume on there yesterday.
That's the one thing like we talk about. If you go to a sports place to watch something, a lot of times you're not going to have the volume. But hey, as I think we get closer to the semifinals and whatnot, it might get a little more rowdy.
I could see that.
Biggest sport in the world. Ooh, I thought you were going to say something, Alan. Sorry about that.
Oh, no. I was letting you guys talk. I was enjoying it.
No, and it's fun. I mean, we're getting closer to football. We're leaning up toward, but there's just so much other really cool sports stuff going on with European Championship, Copa America, the Olympics coming up, and then all of a sudden, boom, we'll be right there. The new era of college football will be rolling in here soon.
And the casual fans who always ask, why do you like that stuff? I watched Netherlands' whole season flip upside down in 20 seconds. Like, it's drama. That's what we like. We like the storylines. And there's drama in all these little side sports that people don't normally pay attention to mainstream. There's always something. So that's why I love it.
And I love anything to do when you're playing for your country. It's just a different level of sports to me.
I told you want me patriotic, make it a competition. I'm in there.
Yeah, there you go. Hey, Alan, we got our top of the hour hard break coming up. We'll be joined by your good friend Keith Fleming here. I think only one segment today, but we'll see if he can actually make that happen. Alan, we appreciate you as always, and I'm sure we'll talk soon.
Thanks, Alan.
All right, take care.
All right, you guys listening to The Inside Drive. We'll be right back with Keith Fleming.
Northwest Florida.
Colin Cowherd. If you want to see the Caitlin Clark effect, here it is. Bad team, small market, and they are worth more, the Indiana Fever, than the Los Angeles Sparks, the Dallas, Atlanta, Washington teams, and almost equal to a team in Chicago.
The Herd with Colin Cowherd. Weekdays, ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is Joanna with ESPN Northwest Florida. Here is your weather forecast on this Wednesday morning. As we head into this afternoon and evening, a chance of thunderstorms and some sun and a high of 89 with a moderate breeze out of the west-southwest around 14 miles per hour. For tonight, possible thunderstorms and partly cloudy skies and a low near 80. This weather forecast is brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
With over 65 years of combined experience, Instant Replay Sports Cards is happy to help you take your collection to the next level. They carry all the new hobby boxes, signed memorabilia, and supplies. New and vintage cards in Pokemon. They sell and trade cards and are always looking to buy. They're an authorized source for Topps, Panini, Upper Deck, and Leaf cards. Instant Replay Sports Cards is open 7 days a week at 752 West 23rd Street, down from Academy Sports. It can always be reached at InstantReplaySportsCards.com.
Hey there, business owners. Do you feel lost in a sea of numbers, struggling to navigate your day-to-day accounting? At Lighthouse CPAs, they specialize in guiding businesses to make more money and keep more of what you make. From bookkeeping to tax planning, they've got you covered. Plus, with their user-friendly software, managing your finances has never been easier. Spend less time on paperwork and more time growing your business. Call Lighthouse CPAs 850-785-5254.
WGSX Lynn Haven, WVLQ Port St. Joe. Powered by Panama City Toyota.
And that's out of the ballpark.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
You hear it first. Sports talk right now. Back to the Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey.
I know it seems a bit overwhelming at first.
Broadcasting from the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine Outdoor Studios.
Something makes me think you'll get used to it.
On ESPN Northwest Florida.
Sky rockets in flight. Afternoon delight.
And welcome back. You're listening to The Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. 104.3 in Panama City Beach, 101.9 in Port St. Joe along the beautiful Forgotten Coast. We're hanging out here in the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine and Outdoor Studios. You can find them at the corner of Frankfurt and 23rd Street for all your boat, car, SUVs, service, repowers, whatever you need, they'll take care of you there, right there at the corner of Frankfurt and 23rd Street. Celebrating our 7-year anniversary this very day. It wouldn't be the same show without Keith Fleming. We've got him coming in, previewing the Rocket Mortgage Classic after the U.S. Open signature event up there at the Travelers with some, Dead Planet protesting action. I don't know what's going on in golf right now, but Keith's going to tell us all about it. Keith, how are you doing today? Keith.
Hey.
There he is.
I heard the last syllable of that, nothing else. My fault.
No, you're good. You're good. Sounds like you're at Augusta. The birds chirping in the background. It sounds very nice.
We're, at Barefoot. Just finished up our final round.
The old stomping grounds, Bill.
Yep.
I am exhausted after 90 golf holes in the last 4 days. I don't know if my old body can take that anymore, plus some shenanigans with my father and the boys, but we've had a very good time.
There you go. There you go. Great tracks out there, too, up at Barefoot. They still got 4?
Yeah, the
Nice.
only one we were not able to play was the die course because they had just punched it, but we played the Love, the Fazio, and the dreaded Live Craig Norman.
I was going to poke you on that one if you said it, but you did. You played it. Yeah, great course. They had a big fire there. I forget when that was, and they had to regrass a lot of stuff and all that. But a great golf facility up there in North Myrtle Beach.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. But yeah, we got the Rocket Mortgage Classic, and some of the storylines are not necessarily the normal guys playing in it, but some of the younger people that have qualified for it, including Miles Russell, the amateur who won, back-to-back Korn Ferry, didn't win, but had back-to-back Korn Ferry cuts. You got Neil Shipley, who was the low amateur at the Masters in the U.S. Open. He just turned pro. Luke Clayton from Florida State. He's number 5 in the world golf rankings, making his PGA Tour debut. And then Benjamin James, he's number 4 in the world golf rankings. And then, of course, Auburn national champion winner Jackson Koivu, who's the number 2 player in the amateur rankings. So let's dive right in. I think you just got one segment today, Keith.
Yeah, we're getting ready to make that great 6-hour drive back, the worst part.
Hey, I drove that one time after me and my roommate, we went to the Monday Night Football game, Atlanta and the Eagles, and I think I've talked about it on the air before, but we decided to make the trip all the way out. He's a huge Eagles fan. He's from Philly, all that stuff, and I ended up getting a Vic jersey just because I didn't want to get yelled at being with an Eagles guy, and then the next day they canceled classes because of a potential hurricane or something like that. But yeah, we didn't stay the night. We drove out and then we stayed in Aiken, so we split it about halfway and then went to the game and then drove all the way back that night from Atlanta to Myrtle Beach. So I understand that drive along I-20 all too well.
But to your point, we're following up Scheffler winning again. It's just at this point absurd. The good news was, if you remember, I actually recommended it. I normally never do that. Betting him on this show last week plus 350, I said I would just do 4 units instead of 1. And Scheffler came through. Another winner last week was JT to top 5 at 8-1. And unfortunately, we do not have the same names in this Rocket Mortgage Classic. To your point, kind of some of the highlights of the field are a 15-year-old and all these kids making their pro debuts. Michael Thorbjornsen is playing in his second PGA event. So it's not the best field in the world, but because of that, it's an opportunity, and I'm trying something a little bit different with my process and selecting my DK plays and my betting card. Because this is a weak field event that historically has been hard to predict, one of the hardest ones year to year, to see the same players doing well here, what better time to kind of experiment with your process? And I know you're asking, well, Keith, we've had winners through the last 5 weeks. What in the world are you doing? Why are we changing now?
Because the field's different.
Adapt or die.
Yeah.
You got to adapt or die when it comes to gambling and DFS, and this is a great opportunity for that. So I'm focusing on a much smaller number of stats than normal when it comes to my DFS lineups and betting cards, and they consist of players who drive the ball well. Distance is a bonus. I want people that make birdies and eagles, do well on par 5s, and excel from 50 to 125. I did look at course history, but again, those statistical categories are total driving, approaches 50 to 125 yards, whether from the fairway or the rough, how often players attempt to hit par 5s and 2, birdie average, total eagles, and par 5 scoring. We were at Detroit Golf Club, another Donald Ross design, 7,300 yards, traditional par 72. It's tree-lined. The fairways are very wide, 10th widest fairways on tour. This has been the 9th easiest venue, or at least it was last season on tour. You're going to see so many birdies made, and that's due to the lack of hazards. There's literally 1 hazard on the entire course. It features 4 very easy par 5s with a birdie or better rate on those par 5s of 48%. So half of the time, these guys are making birdies on par 5s, and 3 of the 4 ranked near the top, like in the top 15 easiest par 5s on tour. You got the par 4s are not exactly menacing either, especially with the Lincoln Modern Golfers. 9 of 10 are 460 yards or less. This venue is truly a wedge fest. That is why I'm so obsessed with that 50 to 125 yard number, because 38% of approaches are going to come from that number. And then just overall, there's not really any danger at this venue. There's no forced layups off the tee or on approach. Players will be aggressive off the tee and on approaches. Again, just to go over those key stats, because I really leaned into them. Total driving, approaches 50 to 125 yards for the fairway or rough. Going for the green percentage, which again, that's going for par 5s and 2. Birdie average, total eagles, par 5 scoring, course history, and I did look at recent results. So let's start with the Canadian, who's anchoring my DK lineup at 9,600. He's 25 to win, 1 to win, plus 550 to top 5, and that is Taylor Pendrith. Done very well here. Runner-up, 14th place appearance in his last, or finishing his last 2 appearances here. Last 8 PGA events after a very slow start to a season. 6 top 25, 16th or better 5 times in that span, including a win. Good driver of the ball, 49th in total driving. He goes for a lot of par 5s and 2s, 31st in that. 27th in birdie average, 24th in par 5 scoring. And again, this is a weak field event. So I looked at players that have done well in these other weak field events. He finished 11th at the Punta Cana and won the Byron Nelson, which again, both weak field events. Next up, Steven Jager, the German, 9,400. He is 25 to 1 to win. Another guy with 2 good appearances at this venue, 9th and 5th the last 2 years. He makes a ton of birdies, 15 birdies or more in 8 of his 17 events. The big reason why he's 22nd in birdie average. Great off the tee, 16th in total driving. He is above average from that 50 to 125 number, 58th and 55th on approaches from 50 to 125 on the fairway and rough, but goes for a lot of greens in 2. He's 8th in attempts at hitting par 5s and 2. That's why he's 8th in total eagles and 6th in par 5 scoring. I really like him this week. Got to give credit to my boy Joe, who's on the golf trip with me, for making me think of Cashmere Keith Mitchell this week, who is next in my lineup. 8,500. He's 35 to 1 to win, 7 to 1 to top 5. He's never played in this event, so we don't have any data on him. But this venue sets up very well for him as you think of his game. 3 top 20s in his last 5 events. He's got 2 top 20s, again, at these weaker fields, at the Byron Nelson, the Mexico Open. Drives the ball great. 44th in total driving. Love that he's 13th in approaches from 50 to 125 from the rough. So if he misses fairways, he handles that well with wedges. He also goes for par 5s a lot. 12th in attempts and hitting them in 2. And then those 3 big ones. 11th in birdie average, 8th in total eagles, 10th in par 5 scoring. I really do like Cashmere Keith this week. Next in the lineup, Chris Kirk, 8,100. He is 60 to 1 to win, 12 to 1 to top 5, plus 550 to top 10. Again, another guy with a good track record here. 21st or better in 4 straight Rocket Mortgage Classics, 39th in total driving, and just excels at that 50 to 125 number. He's 28th from the fairway, 33rd from the rough on approaches, 20th in birdie averages, makes plenty of birdies, and 11th in par 5 scoring. So we've been able to build a pretty good lineup. And then I really do like my 5th guy, Eric Von Ruin, 7,800 as a long shot to win as well at 70 to 1 to win, 12 to 1 to top 5, 6 to 1 to top 10. I don't love that he's missed the cut in his only 2 events here, but he has thrived again in these weaker events. 8th at the Mexico, 4th at the Myrtle Beach. Again, both of those very weak fields as well. And he fits a lot of the narratives. 38th in total driving. He's 20th in approaches from 50 to 125. 27th in birdie average, 5th in total eagles, and 14th in par 5 scoring. So I had to go low, and I actually left a good bit of money for my official DK lineup for my last play, but I'm going with Jake Knapp, 6,400. He's 100 to 1 to win, which I love with his success in these weaker fields. 20 to 1 to top 5, 9 to 1 to top 10, and actually plus 360 to top 20, which I think that's a very safe bet, getting almost 4 to 1 odds. He's got 4 top 10s this season, 3 of them, again, these week events. 8th at the Byron Nelson, 4th at the Cognizant, 1st at the Mexico Open, and it's because he's just a bomber. 34th in total driving, one of the longest guys on tour, 19th in total eagles, very good from that 50 to 125 number. He's 21st on approaches, 5th in par 5 scoring, which you know you love that because you've got to eat on these par 5s. He's actually 31st in birdie or better percentage, so these birdie fests have played well to him. We've also seen a lot of rain so far in this week, making this course wetter. It's not super long by today's standard, but that's only going to help guys like Nat, who I have in my lineup, or Keith Mitchell, you know, Yager, and even Pendrith, who are all bombers as well. So the official lineup, again, is Taylor Pendrith, 9,600, Steven Yager, 9,400, Keith Mitchell, 8,500, Chris Kirk, 8,100, Eric Von Ruin, 7,800, and Jake Knapp, 6,400. I do have 4 other, if you don't mind, real quick, Ryan, I just wanted to get into.
We got more time than we normally do.
Amazing. So I'm going to go with Michael Thorbjornsen again. He's 8K on DK, but what I really like about him is the 75 to 1 to win, 14 to 1 to top 5, plus 650 to top 10. There's not really any true data on him because he's played all of 2 events this year on tour, but elite distance, elite talent, and I do like what I've seen in those 2 events. He's hitting right now 70.8% of his greens and regulations, averaging just 15 feet on approaches from that 50 to 125-yard number on approaches from the fairway, 4.75 birdies per round, and we know he finished 39th at the Travelers, 11th at the Dubai Classic. Again, this is a week event. It's kind of open for anybody, and he has elite talent. So I think that there's value there. For the DK plays as well, though, Ben Griffin, 7,900, 12 to 1 to top 5, 5 to 1 to top 10, finished 33rd in his only start here, but 4 top 16s in his last 8 events, and he is another one of those guys that excels both at the 50 to 125 number from fairway and rough, top 35 in both, 11th in total eagles, and 24th in par 5 scoring. That's a lot of things we're looking at this week. The Englishman, Matt Wallace, he's 7,400. It's disgusting. This is how weak this field is and how messed up the odds are. He's 60 to 1 to win, which just makes me want to throw up, Ryan. But and 6 to 1 to top 5. And I'm still recommending betting him. That's like where we're at.
Yeah.
He's done very well at this venue. Finished 10th and 12th, 2 of his last 3 starts. He's got 4 top 20s in his last 8 events. Another one of these guys, very good from that 50 to 125 number. He's 26th in birdie average, 8th in total eagles, and what I love, 6th in par 5 scoring on the PGA Tour. And then a real bargain and long shot. So I'm using him in DK lineups where I need to go under 7K, and I do like throwing a flyer on him to win. Is Thorbjorn Olsen at 6,900. He's 90 to 1 to win, 7 to 1 to top 10, plus 330 to top 20. Kid's got a ton of talent. He's 21st in approaches from that 50 to 125 number from the fairway, 13th from the rough, 15th in total eagles. He makes birdies. He's 54th in birdie average. And he's one of those really good young foreign players that what better time than this week event for him to kind of, you know, make his ascension on the PGA Tour and get that first PGA win. He's won on the DP World Tour this year, but he's yet to have a PGA Tour win. Feel really good about those plays. And again, we'll see how they go this week. Because I normally don't lean this heavily to just like 6-7 statistics, but I really, you know, I wanted to try something with it being a weaker event, and we'll see how the results go this week. And it might be something we lean into more moving forward, where it's not such a big look at some of these events, but more just picking out 5-6 things, and we kind of hammer those statistics.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I like it. I think the strategy is going to work just fine. I want to ask you guys a question. So Neil Shipley, who obviously was the only guy to make the cut at Augusta National, he ended up playing with Tiger, and then he was the low amateur at the U.S. Open. Obviously, both of those exemptions he was playing as an amateur. Well, here he is now, turning pro, about to play in his first professional event. event. Do you think now, he played great, not only in the Masters, but also played really well in a very difficult U.S. Open that we've talked about at length. Do you think it's more pressure playing there, or now that all of a sudden, okay, now he's turning pro, now there's a paycheck on the line, will that affect his game, you think, positively or negatively? Does he, know, okay, now here's my opportunity. If I play good again, I can make some money, or, hey, I played great, I was just an amateur, there was really not anything quote-unquote on the line. There was, because it's prestige, but what do you guys think about him now playing for a check?
I don't know him. Oh, go ahead, buddy.
I was just going to say, I only think it's going to help, because can you imagine if you keep going as an amateur and you're having a great year, and you just keep, riding along, and then you're kicking yourself for the fact you can't be cashing in on this.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the U.S. Open, now he didn't. I want to say I read something where the U.S. Open changed where, you could, even though you qualified as an amateur, you could turn pro and collect a check if you wanted to. I might be wrong on this.
I believe that's the way it is for all events
okay.
now, where if they win, they can at that point consider themselves professional. They lose their amateur status, but they get the money that they earned that week.
Gotcha. Because I knew it used to be just straight up. If you qualified as an amateur, you were playing as an amateur. But yeah, I thought I read they changed that a little bit. But yeah, no, that's a good point, Bill. Keith, what do you think?
I just think that, and again, I don't know him personally, but just having watched his game, I think it's only going to help, because he just seems, reminds me a little bit of Scheffler, that none of those moments seemed to, change him at all. Yeah. And he just kind of kept playing good golf, and that's so important. And I would think that, having played with Tiger and having been in the low amateur at the Masters and the U.S. Open, going head-to-head with the other low amateur on Sunday at the U.S. Open and winning that battle.
Ironically playing in this same event.
Exactly. I think that, it's so important to know your golf game and to be comfortable on the golf course to have success, no matter what the level is.
Yeah.
And I think that's only going to help Shipley. And I'm excited to see what he can do. I'm excited about this class. There's, to your point, a lot of really good young players. And ironically, maybe the best one is still an amateur and just finished his freshman year at Auburn, because Jackson Kavanaugh is a straight-up killer, and I can't wait to see him in a pro event.
He's going to be awesome. I mean, he's awesome right now, but yeah, that's for sure. All right, final question, Keith. Obviously, the big talk, Miles Russell, he earned this exemption after having back-to-back top 25 finishes on the Korn Ferry Tour, becoming the youngest ever to finish in the top 25 in a Korn Ferry event, making his PGA Tour debut. Does he make the cut?
I hate to say it, but I don't think so. It's a much bigger ask, and I actually think, again, because the field is weaker, he's going to get so much attention. In a lot of ways, I think be a marquee part of some of the television coverage, the press coverage, et cetera. That's a lot on a 15-year-old shoulder. So I hope he does, and it would be great for him in the game. But I do think that, again, with these weaker events, there's a lot of guys that are playing keep the card, playing to, get into a lot of other things, and it's just a whole different world. And, I mean, he didn't even have his driver's license yet. So, but either way, it's pretty remarkable,
No courtesy car for Miles at the tournament, that's for sure.
Exactly.
For sure. But, hey, Keith, we appreciate your time. Safe travels back to the ATL, and it still proves you can have the big-time golf trip where you play a lot of golf in a short period of time, and you can recover and come right here on the Inside Drive.
Absolutely. Hopefully win us some money. I hope you guys have a great rest of the show and a great rest of the week.
Appreciate it, Keith. Safe travels back. You guys are listening to the Inside Drive. We'll be right back.
ESPN Northwest Florida, your home for Mike Greenberg.
The Knicks are pretty close, and they're in the East. In the East, there's one team you got to beat, and I don't know that anyone can. But I think the Knicks would have given Boston a tougher fight than anybody wound up giving them if they had been healthy, candidly, even if they hadn't been healthy. So if they are any semblance of healthy, and you told me right now someone besides Boston is going to win the East next year, I would take the Knicks.
Greeny. Weekdays on ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is Joanna with ESPN Northwest Florida with your Wednesday's weather. The remainder of the day, there will be a moderate breeze out of the west-southwest, a chance of thunderstorms and some sun at 89. A likelihood of thunderstorms and partly cloudy skies tonight, about the same at 80. Tomorrow, a likelihood of thunderstorms and a high of 87. The same at 87 Friday, and we'll have mostly sunshine in the early morning, followed by possible thunderstorms. This forecast is brought to you by Ellis Agency Insurance. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Los Rancheros has been doing it right for 20 years. Los Rancheros brings a top-shelf dining experience to you with the opening of their beautiful new building. Watch all college and pro games on Los Rancheros' 14 large-screen TVs with great drink specials daily from 2 to 5 and during all the games. Los Rancheros, the place for live sports and great food on 23rd Street between Jenks and Harrison.
Life can take us so many places. And at Panama City Toyota, we're here to make sure every drive is worth every minute. Maybe you want a fun, fuel-efficient car for everyday driving. Or you need a dependable vehicle that really gets the job done. Sometimes it's all about answering the call of the wild. And when you're ready to shop, reserve your vehicle online and choose your options. Or we'll help you in person, even if you started the process at home. Whatever works for you, always works for us.
Welcome to the Inside Drive, the next big thing.
It's a big, huge, giant deal.
Sports betting, huge reactions, your calls and real-time coverage of the stories you're following. Broadcasting from the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine Outdoor Studios on ESPN Northwest Florida.
And welcome back. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. It wouldn't be the Inside Drive without me giving a shout out to Dynasty Flag Football. We had our first game of the summer season yesterday, and the kids have been working hard at practice, and it paid off yesterday. It looked fantastic. Great team win. I think we got that one 44-6 yesterday. Just came out firing on all cylinders, dropping dimes, making interceptions, having a lot of fun, and it was a great time yesterday out there.
44-6.
I need to fire that daggone defensive coordinator.
Yeah,
let him get past half.
Let them get half. As soon as they got past half field or midfield, I was like, "Come on, David!" And then they scored a touchdown. I was like, but no,
She was not happy. Ryan comes over. She's like, "How did they score?"
Yeah, she gets on to me. She's like, "How did my daughter?" She's like, "How did they score?" And I was like, "Look at that guy.
Look at that.
Don't talk to me."
They made some great plays though down that drive for sure.
They did. It was a lot of fun. I mean, we got a great group of kids this summer. A lot of Dynasty vets, that's for sure. A couple new guys as well. But it was just a lot of fun. All the hard work Liam's really put into working with QB Vision, and just, I let him call all the plays last night, and except for two, and the two plays that I put in there for him, they didn't really get a whole lot. But let him control the offense, and the kids just had a great time. And it was a lot of fun to be back out on the flag football field, as the last time we were out there was shortly after I had my head sliced open. So it was nice to be out there at a different capacity.
I could imagine. So Liam taking the reins, huh?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And that's part of kind of what we're working him into. He's been playing quarterback for a long time, but part of being a quarterback, you got to be a leader.
That's
and one
it.
way to be the leader, control the offense.
Yeah.
The kids trust him, and they had a lot of fun.
It's perfect.
But, hey,
He had a
DJ...
lot of great throws last night, moving on the run, great touch on the ball, great grabs, too, from the receivers. Miles and Tag on that first drive, just like, goodness gracious, Matho had some big ones. Joey playing great on the defensive side of the ball as well. Easton and Liam teaming up on the little double rush there. Liam tips the ball. Easton grabs it, pick six. Jake with a pick six. Griff, great snap.
Charlie with a nice catch in the corner. Everybody was having fun yesterday. We're getting all the touches.
I love it.
Griffin did great snapping the ball, and because we switched this season, a little different rules. It's kind of a combo between City of Panama City and Southern Elite Sports. So there's a mix of rules, and you have to snap. Usually, we've always snapped to the side. Well, this is the first season we're snapping through the legs, so that's a little different.
That's a big switch.
Absolutely, because most kids don't know how to snap that shotgun snap where you're getting the ball right in the spot where it's a quick flip to the laces. But I will say I still got to give QB Vision a huge shout out. Williams been working with them a little bit more each year, and just his footwork, his quickness to the ball, his position, his mechanics, they're just so much better. And I think it's correlating to a little bit quicker and better offense. So, but just a lot of fun out there. Couldn't not say and mentioned Team Dynasty in the show today. So we'll be back out on the field tomorrow as well. So I'm sure we'll talk about it again on tomorrow's show. But let's have some fun these last two segments, and let's dive into some interesting sports topics for everybody. This is what we're going to start with, right? Florida Panthers, they are no longer on this list of which team will be the next team to win for their first modern title. And Florida's officially dropped off. We'll live in the NHL world first. We'll start with them.
Now, when we say modern title,
I would say like the modern sports era. So like not like many, many years ago, because there's some teams on here that have been around for a long time. We got the San Jose in hockey, just hockey right now. We got the San Jose Sharks, the Winnipeg Jets. We've got the Nashville Predators, the Vancouver Canucks, the Minnesota Wild, the Phoenix Coyotes, the Buffalo Sabres, the Ottawa Senators, and the Columbus Blue Jackets. Let's ask this question first. Which team do you think it'll take the longest?
Winnipeg.
Yeah, Winnipeg?
I don't think they'll be around.
Oh, okay.
Well, they just have terrible attendance.
That's a great point.
Yeah. I think Winnipeg will take the longest because I don't think that they will be in Winnipeg. I think they'll be moving on.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, in Phoenix, they're not, or Arizona, they're not then. They're the Utah Hockey Club now.
Right.
So
there's still that rumor that the ownership group's going to bring back Arizona again as the next expansion team.
That's very confusing.
I think I saw something the other day, too, where it's like, no, we're not doing that anymore. But that was supposed to be the future promise by Gary Bettman and Arizona, whatever their ownership group was if there's another NHL team coming, it's going to go back to Arizona.
Also heard the third time is the charm for Atlanta.
Yeah, there you go.
What are you going to be this time? Flames? Thrashers? Who knows?
Man.
I'm going to stick with Buffalo Sabres for the longest. Just Buffalo's
just, they're cursed in many different ways.
How many teams we got on that list for Buffalo?
We'll find out. We will find out. The ATL's got a few on there as well. That is for sure. But
my pick for, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I think I'm between two teams. I'm between the Nashville Predators and the Vancouver Canucks right now, in my opinion. One of those two teams will be the next one to break through.
I think Canadians they would rather a team like Vancouver win it more so than Edmonton, Toronto, Montreal.
Canadians as a whole.
Exactly.
Exactly.
For me, though, it would be Nashville Predators. Yeah. They've been kind of close. I think that they've got a great fan base there as well. So I would say Nashville would be the next team to come off of that list.
There you go. What do you think, Bill?
I like Nashville as a pick, but did you say the Kraken, Seattle? Because they're the newer.
I underlined them, but I skipped them.
I like the Kraken to break through. Okay. As good as David, good call with the Canucks, because I really like Rick Tocchet as their coach. And again, they ran into Edmonton, and they could have closed them out. But I think, I'm going to go Seattle as my next team to win for NHL out of that list.
And it's interesting because they're such a new team, and so is Vegas, but they've already won the Stanley Cup, and that's what's kind of cool with the NHL is, when you have an expansion team, a new team, not a relocating team, a new team, you have the expansion draft.
Correct.
So you get to get decent players. You're not just starting from, you're starting from scratch, but you're not starting from scratch.
I love how the NHL set it up, and granted for Vegas, it was almost too stacked, so when Seattle got formed, they're like, all right, we're going to dial this back for protected picks a little bit.
Because Vegas, they made it their first year to the Cup final, and they didn't win.
Because for Vegas,
Washington, I believe.
Yes, because they could basically just poach just about anybody from a team. Versus at least with Seattle there was a couple more, non-trade piece, non-movable objects on your team for your roster.
I like how you can, they just kind of make up the rules as they go along.
Yeah.
Professional sports are wild.
I would say this too, for Seattle, I was going to say when you see new teams go into markets and you never quite know how it's going to be. So I'm going to be very excited to see how Utah, whatever they decide to call their hockey club, if it's hockey club.
That's what it's going to be for year one.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yep.
I missed that
Utah
one.
Hockey Club.
All right. I'll take that for year one.
Taking a page out of the playbook of the Washington football.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But I know I've got some friends living up in the Seattle area, and they said the Kraken are a huge buzz up that way.
Oh, I
so
can
it's
imagine.
amazing seeing
It's a
these
great name.
cities come in. Like Vegas, you hoped that sports would really take off there, and it has so far. But especially Seattle for hockey, Pacific Northwest, unless at that point, who you rooting for? Because there was only as far north as you go. It was San Jose is the furthest northern California
And if you don't
team.
want to root for a Canadian
And
team,
you'd have to go up to Vancouver, being a West
not
Coaster.
that far away from Seattle, but
Right.
you're still going into a different country.
Correct.
So, yeah.
So, yeah.
I like that. Seattle and Nashville. I still think Vancouver, they've been close twice. It's been a while. It's been, 12, 13 years, but I think Vancouver may break through. But, hey, be interesting to see if do any of these teams come off the list next year on the NHL side?
No.
Yeah. What do you think, Dave?
I'll say no, man.
Yeah. Some other teams are just a little too strong right now.
If Edmonton keeps the group together,
big if there with the Draisaitl piece.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But if they keep it together, they got the Panthers leading the odds at plus 900 for next year. I don't know about back to back. Even when the Lightning did it, right? All of the things that were with the COVID and everything going on, and even in 2021 when it was against Montreal, that was still like 50% or whatever. So they had a lot of things that kind of aided them in their back-to-back title. I hate to say that as a Lightning fan, but it's true.
Well, you think about it too. The Panthers, they've been to back-to-back Cup finals. Just that all that mileage takes a toll no matter what sport you're in. So if you're playing more than anybody back-to-back years, it should probably catch up to you at some point.
Yeah, I mean, that's when we saw that with the Lightning, right? Because back-to-back Cup appearances, and it takes a toll on your goalies, your defensemen, all of the injuries that they're going through anyways. It's ridiculous with the amount of games that they play, how they can continue to stay on the ice like that.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, where do you want to go next? You want to go NFL?
Yeah.
All right. Buffalo Bills, Jacksonville Jaguars, Cincinnati Bengals, Atlanta Falcons. That's not going to happen. The Houston Texans, the Tennessee Titans, the Detroit Lions, the Arizona Cardinals, the Minnesota Vikings, the Cleveland Browns, or the Carolina Panthers.
Ooh, what a list.
Yeah, when you say that list,
I know.
Like, wow.
I'll go
can't believe
first.
There's that
I'll
many.
go first on this one. I'm going to say the Houston Texans.
Ooh.
Bengals are close for me, but I think the Texans are, they're making stuff happen.
I could see that. Yeah, I actually like that Houston pick a lot. Are we doing the same thing as last time? The team that's not going to win?
Yeah, I know. I've already said mine.
Carolina Panthers.
Yeah. Carolina.
Yeah.
That's just, and they're about to spend $650 million on that stadium, but that doesn't necessarily have to do anything with how successful your team is. 'Cause if you're still selling tickets, you're making money.
That's about them getting a chance to host a Super Bowl.
Yeah, and that'll bring a lot of money in there for Charlotte, no doubt. Yeah, I think Falcons are on the bottom of my list for that one.
I have the Falcons.
Will they make the playoffs? Yeah, probably, but
I was going to say
still Atlanta.
I think Buffalo's starting to go downhill now. I think they missed their window. And I know Josh Allen is still in his prime, but I think, Buffalo just has that whatever's hanging out in the air, and they just can't kick it. So I'm going to say they're the ones that'll be the cursed team that'll take the longest.
Okay.
And I'm going to go Bengals for the next one to come off the schneid, because I just think with Burrow, Chase, and that team's been close. And again, as long as Burrow doesn't get injured, they should be a contender year in and year out.
It's a big if. It's happened a few times.
But he's like, it's an every other year thing.
Great year, injury. Great year, injury.
So this could be
I was saying, this could be the year, yeah.
If the pattern continues.
I like that. I'm going to go with the representative of the NFC in the NFC Championship who didn't make it.
I was going to see if somebody would pick this team.
Got to go that direction, right? Like, what if we got a Detroit last year? I was hoping, and I think a lot of people were once their teams were eliminated from the playoffs. Detroit Lions, Cleveland Browns, Super Bowl. You get a first-time winner there. But what about a Detroit Lions, Houston Texans Super Bowl?
It'd be great.
There's some validity to how much better the Houston Texans have gotten this year. Who knows? I still think that it's going to be nearly impossible to knock off Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs when they get to the playoffs. Their defense, if it's as good as what it was last year,
if they can stay out of jail, yeah.
But they have been on a run in that particular. They've been racing, haven't they? I'm going to go Detroit Lions, though. I just think that would be great, and I know Michigan Eddie would be.
Ecstatic.
Talk about mind blowing.
Ecstatic. Now, speaking specifically to the Lions, they've been on the up and up. Last year, NFC Championship, you get out to the lead. Unfortunately, you lose it. You end up going home. The year before, they made it to the playoffs, first time in a long time. Are they now at the point where before the expectations of the fan base were so low because of what they've been dealing with, that Dan Campbell comes in, they bring them up, now they're here kind of at the top? Is the expectations of the fans now become, we're the Lions, we suck, we're never going to do this, to now, this is our shot, we got to make it happen, and the guys like Jared Goff, can't answer that bell?
I think the Lions will be fine. I think it's one of those pieces where you have that long-suffering fan base. And again, things can always happen to any team at any time.
Any moment.
But I think the way Dan Campbell built up that culture, I think Goff was happy to be up there and be accepted compared to when, I think he had Jeff Fisher as his first coach. And that was old Fisher at that point, just kind of doing whatever out in L.A. I think the Lions will be okay.
I would say that for the bandwagon fans, the ones who are, just now claiming to be Detroit Lion fans, that, maybe those expectations are going to be too high. But the ones who have been riding and dying with the Detroit Lions for a long time, no, their expectations are going to be tempered because they know that just because we've had a good couple of runs, we can get right back to that 0-16, which in this time and age would be 0-17. Not that the Lions would be going 0-17 this year.
It
but
wasn't even
possible.
that long ago. That's what's crazy. You know a team that I forgot? I totally missed it because of the logo?
Who?
The Chargers.
Yeah, no.
No.
Doesn't matter.
Harbaugh? No.
Yeah, no.
Nothing.
Man, tough.
Tough division.
Show me.
Tough division. No doubt.
I'm with Bill. Show me. You got Harbaugh
right,
over
Jerry.
there, but they've gotten they've gotten so many pieces over there. Like they've blown it all up. So I'm curious to see how the Harbaugh era starts and what the rebuild kind of looks like, because for me there's no expectations for the Chargers to really compete in the West. Yeah, you've got Justin Herbert over there, but you've gotten rid of Eckler.
Yep.
You didn't really bring any pieces in. Quentin Johnston is like your number one wide receiver over there. So yeah, you got Joe Alt. That's a great way to start in the trenches, but we'll have to see what else you bring to provide some aid to Justin Herbert.
And just such a tough division to play in for sure. I mean, and you would arguably think that the Broncos are going to be getting a little bit better. The Raiders are kind of in flux a little bit, but you always got to deal with the Chiefs every year as well.
Why do we feel like the Broncos are getting better? Bo Nix?
No.
I nixed that in the bud.
No, I feel like they got to get better. That's what I should have said. They've got to get better. Right?
I just feel like
you would hope. If you're a Denver fan.
Hey, maybe it's the moms out there in Denver bring Zach Wilson to the promised land.
There you go. There you go.
Hey.
How long do you give the Chargers, by the way, for that rebuild? How many? I mean, Harbaugh, you think gets a long leash, right?
I would think at least 3 years.
3?
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that.
Because it's not like they were, knocking down the doors before him. I mean, they had the playoff appearance and they had the collapse against the Jags a couple years ago.
Yep.
So yeah, I think he's going to get a longer leash than most, especially due to his pedigree and having previous success in the NFL.
Yeah.
So do you almost go in as Harbaugh being like, give me 2 years to get my culture going?
Yeah.
Find out who my inside guys are, and then start
if the
spending
ownership's
money.
willing to buy into that and support him that way, yeah.
Now, I've always
absolutely.
heard the Spanos family and like the entire for the LA Charger.
Yes.
Very hands off for a lot of everything regarding the team itself. So,
which would make sense on why they hired Harbaugh.
Yeah. So I think he can kind of run the ship the way he wants to.
It'll be interesting. It's crazy how many teams have not won a championship.
I know. This is a good. I'm looking at this printout here in studio, and
I got to think on my toes a little bit because it's all team logos. So
Yeah.
that's why I missed a couple here and there. But
all right, what's next?
Well, we're gonna have to first. We're gonna take a quick break, and then when we get back, we're gonna either go MLB or NBA and see what y'all's thoughts are. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida.
ESPN Northwest Florida. The afternoon underdogs.
If you get one more, you're going to Atlanta next Friday. Which of these Atlanta Braves once hit 4 home runs in one game? Was it? Bob Warner. Don't even got to read off any. You are going to Truist Park, my man.
4 to 6 weekdays. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
The battle for a 7th straight division crown is on, and the Braves are on a charge to bring it home to Atlanta.
Swung on a fly ball, deep left center field. That is down for a base hit. Michael Harris taking no prisoners. Braves win it in the bottom of the 10th.
Tonight, the Braves and Cardinals get one final battle from Busch Stadium in St. Louis as they look for a big National League win on the road.
Coverage starts at 6. First pitch, 6:15. Chris Sale taking the mound. You're home for the Braves. ESPN Northwest Florida.
PCB Hobby, the beach's premier hobby store for sports cards, comics, coins, and trading card games. PCB Hobby carries the largest selection of boxes and packs from the latest releases of brands like Topps, Panini, Leaf, and more. Looking for a specific player or team? PCB Hobby has a wide assortment of raw and graded cards. They carry parallel rookie, game used, and autographed cards in both modern and vintage. Have a collection you want to sell? We buy, sell, and trade. PCB Hobby on Back Beach Road, just east of Florida Linen. Call 850-320-8388.
Hello, this is Rick Vosser with RV of Panama City, your local Stormore portable building dealer, located at 2241 East Baldwin Road. Shopping for a garage, portable building, cabin, We build them anywhere from 8 to 16 foot wide, 10 feet to 60 feet long. We can do insulation, electricity, transom dormers, thermal windows. Come, let's customize a building together. Rick Vossen, Stormore Portable Building Dealer, Panama City.
Are you hungry for authentic Mexican cuisine? Then come to El Rodeo Tequila Bar and Grill, where we serve up the freshest, most flavorful dishes on the beach. El Rodeo Tequila Bar and Grill, a great location, comfortable atmosphere, and happy hour from 3 to 7. Buy one, get one free, regular margaritas and 12-ounce house drafts. And you're gonna love their lunch specials, Monday through Friday from 11 to 3. Plus, live music Wednesdays and Saturdays starting at 5:30. El Rodeo Tequila Bar and Grill, Thomas Drive, across from the Navy base.
Back to the Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey from the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine Outdoor Studios.
It's alive! Look alive! We're alive!
On ESPN Northwest Florida.
And welcome back. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Don't forget, tomorrow we're going to be giving away another 4-pack of Braves tickets. It's the Summer of Braves Tickets giveaway. Today is our 7-year anniversary officially. So tomorrow we're going to run some trivia again coming out of our first segment. Maybe we won't get the answer right in the first one. We'll be able to keep it going. But that's going to be for a 4-pack of tickets to head up to the game on July 5th against the Philadelphia Phillies. Huge kind of mid-season series there for the Braves to try to kind of close that gap a little bit with Philadelphia in the NL East. All right, before we jump back into this, got another fun fact for you guys. And you're probably not going to get this, but I want you to guess just to see. Only one QB in NFL history has started 50-plus games and not thrown a pick six. This name is going to surprise you, and it's probably a name you haven't really heard too much of. He hasn't started a lot recently.
Oh, well, that's a tough one.
I know. It's not easy. And it's easy when you have the name, when you got the thing in front of you. 15 starts, one quarterback in NFL history has started 50-plus games and not thrown a pick
And he's not a starter.
He's currently not a starter, no. I know. And I could give you hints, but I feel like if I give you a hint, it's going to immediately... Okay, he's played...
Is he on a team right now?
I believe so. He's played in the NFC and the AFC.
Ooh, that was actually...
Marcus Mariota is not correct. But he's played for the NFC and the AFC. That's a hint. That's a very broad hint, but I'm trying to not get you to the answer real quick.
Who you got? I got nothing.
You remember the movie Road Trip with Tom Green and all them?
Boston versus Austin.
What was the one character's name that he would always talk about when he was talking to the snake? His first name? The snake in there, he's like, Mitch.
Not Trubisky.
Mitch Trubisky.
No way.
It would have been tough. I was going to say the Bears and the
because
Steelers.
he's on the Eagles, so he hasn't really played in the NFC yet, but...
The
that's
Bears.
That's
I was
right.
thinking Bears in Pittsburgh.
That's right.
Yep.
Yeah, because I believe he's with the Eagles now.
Okay, gotcha.
I watched enough Bears games with him at the helm.
No pick
And I
sixes.
can't believe that.
That's why I love this one.
Oh, that's a great fun fact.
That is a fun fact.
You would just think that he would have thrown a pick six.
If there was anybody on a list, like if that was a pick 'em, like he had your top three, like I'd put him number one for pick sixes.
Yeah.
Not one. Wow. Yeah, 50 games, not
That
one
is
pick
wild.
six.
Glad he has that on his resume.
Yeah, I'm sure he's got a lot of picks, but just luckily the offense, I guess.
Wait,
stopped
it
him.
might not be Trubisky that's with the Eagles. It might be Kenny Pickett.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't even know where Trubisky is at this point. He may not even be on. He's got to be on a team, right? He was
Back in
on
North Carolina.
Yeah, because he was on the Bears, and then he went to Pittsburgh.
Right.
And he wasn't the start, but he did start as the starter. But then when Kenny Pickett came in, Kenny
got bounced back.
Yeah.
Oh, he's with the whole Buffalo Bills.
Ah.
And we can't forget Pro Bowler Mitch Trubisky.
It's because he didn't throw any pick sixes.
That's it.
That's when he got voted.
Pro Bowl.
Man.
A lot easier to get into these days.
The Bears. Good thing they had 86, right? It was 86?
It was 86, yeah.
Good thing they had that, because since then it had...
Or 85?
85.
85,
Yep.
yeah.
85. My birth year. Yep. All right. We got two more sports to cover. What do you want to go? You want to go basketball or baseball?
Let's go basketball since it just ended and we are in primetime baseball season. So we can see if we can will some team to the
There you
first
go.
ever
I like
championship.
that.
How about that?
I like that. All right. Basketball side of things, we got the Brooklyn Nets. We've got the Indiana Pacers, the Charlotte Hornets, the Minnesota Timberwolves, and who else? The Orlando Magic, the Phoenix Suns, and the LA Clippers, the Utah Jazz, and I think that's it.
Golly,
It's
man,
tough.
these lists are long.
Yeah, you would think. I mean, we're talking about what? That's 6 times 36 teams. Well, it was 36 teams until Florida got off the list.
Gone.
But yeah, interesting enough, no doubt about it.
David, you want first crack?
Ah, man, I would love to
Start with
my
team that
Indiana-
never, you think will never ever win a championship.
Well, I guess I go to a team that I used to go to a lot of games of growing up, Charlotte Hornets. I'll keep them right there with the Panthers. I would love to see them, man. I think they got some of the best uniform colors in all of the NBA. But
makes me think NBA Jam.
Yeah, but I man, what are they doing over there?
It's funny how like the cities like kind of seems to be like a citywide thing.
Yeah.
To it, not all the time, but to a certain degree, no doubt about it.
Yeah, no, I can see that. All right, who you got winning?
Oh man, it would be between. I mean, the Clippers. They're about to get their own stadium.
Yep.
So I'll say that. I would love to put my Indiana Pacers up there, but I believe in Tyrese Halliburton and Pascal Siakam. We'll have to see though. I'll go with the Clippers until then.
All right, what about you? Team that will never.
Team that'll never. I'd like to say Brooklyn, just because. And again, that's the old Boston, New York in me.
Yeah.
I'll say the Jazz though, just because I feel like being out in Utah, just cool sports.
Utah screams basketball. What are you talking about?
So yeah, I'm gonna pick Utah as my not gonna win it for forever.
Okay.
And then if I had to go team that'll be next up, I'm gonna go Minnesota.
Oh yeah.
I was gonna say based upon just watching them this past year and everything else. Indiana, also great team right now, but Minnesota I think will be the first to crack through.
Yeah, I just don't like David's confidence in Indiana, so that's why I'm going to steer away from them a little bit. I'm going to go with the Atlanta Hawks. Never, ever, 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 ever winning a NBA championship.
Boom.
And then I'm going to take your Minnesota Timberwolves. I think that's a
Makes
good
sense.
one.
I liked your confidence on the never ever.
No, never, ever, ever. It's just, they just make crazy decisions. And because we talked to Keith so much and he did that whole segment about Atlanta sports, I just, other than the Braves who went that long stretch without a championship, it's not a pretty picture.
Tough market, yeah.
It is. And again, it's you get some of these cities you kind of lump together and
Well,
it's
here
like
you go.
they
I
feed
got one
off
for
one
you.
another.
Atlanta or Buffalo? Where would you rather not be the fan?
Atlanta.
Yeah.
Just because I think the Buffalo fans are still like all together and they're all working towards the same excitement.
Something in them chicken wings.
Yeah, absolutely.
Always circling wagons.
That's it. You got to watch out for it.
Yeah, Atlanta. At least Buffalo tries and continues to get back. But with Atlanta, it's like, what in the world are we doing? From drafting to
Trading,
coach hires, all of these things. Like what?
Oh man.
But people are excited about Raheem Morris, so maybe he can turn it around. For
Yeah,
them.
and they got it. I mean, football wise, they got a pretty good squad.
They got a squad over there.
They might be. I think they make the playoffs, but can they? And you just never know. Each year is so different.
For that division, too, I was going to say they could. I mean, everybody's probably all mixed together there. I don't see like Tampa Bay being like the odds-on favorite to win that division.
Yeah.
So
it's nice to see Baker at least like at a kind of a steady place here in the last couple years. And they extended him a few more years, I think, down there. So
yeah, you got that. They got Shepard down from the Giants.
The Giants, yeah, Sterling.
So more weapons for Baker.
And their defense has always been pretty good.
Yeah.
And they play in a warm climate, so that helps too.
Definitely.
The pirate ship.
That's a good spot.
Tickets are a lot more expensive in Tampa Bay than they are in Jacksonville.
I told you.
I will tell you that.
Make sure you're...
Oh, no, I was looking right next to that pirate ship. I was trying to find some seats on the bow, and they don't sell those.
No.
But even around the ship, they're not like Jacksonville.
Stick
on the cannon.
Stick in the corner. Go for the visitor section. You'll be by there, and the cannons, at least at that point, aren't right over your head.
Yep. That's exactly where I'm looking, but we'll pull the trigger here eventually. All right, MLB. I'm going to have to kind of decipher this one here. All right, first one, you got the Milwaukee Brewers, the San Diego Padres.
They've been playing since 1969, had 2 World Series and still haven't. And they had Tony Gwynn.
Yeah.
That's true. Yep. All right, so we got the Brewers, the Padres,
Mariners,
the Rays, let's see, the Rockies and the Mariners.
Are those all like out of order? Like there's just a whole bunch of teams who have never won?
Yeah, there's got to be some rhyme or reason. It's not alphabetical. It's not by sport. It's not by city. So, yeah, because, I mean, the first one on the list is San Jose.
Yeah.
And the second one's Buffalo. So, I don't know if there's a rhyme or reason, but...
Team most likely not to win, though, right? That's how we want to start this?
We're starting with that one, absolutely.
I'll go Colorado.
Oh, the Rockies.
I think that's a good move.
Yeah.
Using science on that one.
They got cheap beer, though.
That they do.
And it doesn't take you as many to get what you're trying to get to.
There you go.
Just watch out for the altitude sickness. What do you think, Bill? You Rockies, too? Never get one done.
Yeah, we'll stick with them. It's them or Milwaukee. I think Milwaukee would be my pick. I think good baseball town too and everything else. For whatever reason, the Brewers just never seem like they're going to get there.
Gotcha. I mean, there's not as many teams to choose from in baseball, which is interesting. I know there's only 30 teams in baseball, but still not quite as much quantity of losers in this particular sport.
I think baseball has the best parity in all of sports.
Gotcha. That would make sense. Man, I'm gonna go with the Rays. I feel like because the reason I'm going with the Rays is because they've been close before. They've had good rosters. They've had good runs. But sometimes if your window closes in sports, and maybe it's closed on the Rays. All right, what do you guys think for next team to win a championship?
I'm going to go with another former hometown of mine, Padres. I think if they can slay the dragon that are the Dodgers, that'll be the year where everything will kind of line up and they'll make it over the hump.
They did that, what was it?
It was a couple years ago.
Yeah, a couple years ago.
But Dodgers just keep getting better.
Yeah.
And, I mean, that's the toughest thing. And I do, like you said, with Tampa, I think the biggest thing for them is once they get out of the trop there, like if they are another team that can get do they have a new stadium on the way?
They've got rumors of it, like a $1.7 billion stadium, which, the drawings of it look really cool. I don't know if anything's been solidified there. And I think they're going to keep it in St. Pete, so a lot of people weren't happy about that, which me, myself, I used to ride my bike to the Trop as a kid. So there's like a special place in my heart with the Trop, but I get it, man. And the fact is, even when we were growing up, and, this is a new franchise in 1998, the stadium was empty unless you were playing the Yankees or the Red Sox, and then at that point it's filled with Yankees and Red Sox fans.
Yep, absolutely.
I'll go my next one to win, and I can't believe I'm going to pick them, but I'll go with the Seattle Mariners.
Yeah. That's not bad. I mean, I don't really know as much here in this world, but I'm going to go with the Padres as well. Just because I feel like they've got, while following fantasy baseball, they got some, better players and seem to be moving kind of in the right direction. So I'll go with the Padres.
Yeah, a lot of younger talent on the team the past few years, too. So.
And their City Connect jerseys are pretty cool.
They are amazing.
Flashy, as some may say. A couple more fun facts maybe before we end the show today.
Why not?
Yeah. All right. You guys, I don't know if you saw this or not. It's from a couple days ago. The Tigers fell victim to the first 1-3-5 triple play in Major League Baseball since 1929.
Wow.
Yep. That was exciting.
I missed that one on SportsCenter.
Pitcher caught it, got the guy on first, and then got the guy that was running home on third.
Ooh. Almost 100 years since something like that's been done. That's wild, man. Baseball, the gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah, absolutely. And those are just fun stuff.
Yeah. Well, that's the fun part about baseball, too. You could go to a game and see something that hasn't been done ever, or like you just said, 100 years, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
History. It's good stuff. It's good stuff. This one's another fun one. I'm sure you've come across it. The 7'3" 17-year-old woman from China hooping in the FIBA. Seen that?
I have not seen that one either.
Wild. I mean, 7'3".
How tall?
7'3".
Wow.
Get her to the WNBA.
That's what I'm saying. She's got to be on the come up for sure when it comes out. I mean, there's nobody even close.
She's a giant compared to anybody else.
Literally.
Wow.
Literally.
Yao.
Yeah. I mean, she's just she's just up there and can just nobody can even come close. She's getting rebounds. Everybody's like looking up at her.
Yeah.
I was like, I mean, is she playing in the Olympics?
But also, like,
she's probably really slow.
She's playing against other Asians, right?
Yeah. Well, she's playing. Well, Indonesia is this picture, but yeah, that's Asian. So yeah.
They're a little bit on the smaller side, tending to be
averages.
Yeah, averages. Stereotypically speaking.
Yep. So I mean, if they play the United States, we'll see if that actually has any.
We'll see how Brittany
merit to
Griner
it.
can lock her down.
Yeah. There you go. That's
Who is the tallest girl in the WNBA?
Ooh, good question.
I have no idea.
Charlie Hull, you guys remember her ripping the heaters?
Oh yeah, that's my girl.
You know what she did yesterday?
What's that?
She signed a heater.
No.
One of the fans held out
Get
one to her,
outta here.
and she didn't skip a beat and signed it with the Sharpie.
Let's go, man.
Embracing it. But
6'11", currently Han Zhu of the New York Liberty. In WNBA history, it's FIBA Hall of Famer Margot Didek, who was 7'2".
I like this at the end of the day, the fun facts.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm learning stuff today. That Mitch Trubisky fun fact, that one, yeah. My mind's going to be blown till tomorrow.
It's just Till. You just don't think Mitch would not have done that. But anyway, we got to go. Thanks for tuning in today. Afternoon Underdogs coming at 4 p.m. We'll be back tomorrow. Y'all have a great rest of your Wednesday.
For 7 years, ESPN Northwest Florida has been your destination on the Panhandle for the Atlanta Braves.
He just blew the doors off that thing.
But our listeners are the real MVP.
Another dominating performance.
So this year, we're giving away more tickets to Truist Park than ever before. Keep listening to win family 4-packs to experience the Atlanta